Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom. The fireworks are not done.
Tailgate commentary doesn't get Got him, he Anglican police, service left. Oh, for Trump's sake.
Is that correct?
Literally not true. I didn't ask you to interrupt me. You did.
Good morning, welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. Happy Monday. It's Monday all day. Why am I so tall right now? It's a little better. Okay. A little bit. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Hope you had a fabulous weekend. I did. It was wonderful. Must say, ooh, no, not that one. Hang on. There we go. Sloth Life. We got you there the second time around. Welcome. First in chat this morning. Morning, clear camera view. Yes, the new camera is working phenomenally. I'm really a big fan of this. The new camera. Oh, I can hear. Why is my speakers on? Now they're off. Okay, that's better. That was a weird little echo I was having. Can we go back to bed? Yes, you can, but you'll miss whatever we do then. The new camera I've got right back here is a Blackmagic Design Micro Studio 4K, something like that. It's all those words are mixed together. Basically, the idea is the camera's about the size of your fist, has a little tiny lens on it, and it is beautiful. It is clear. And better than everything else, it's designed to stay on 24/7, so I never turn it off, and I don't have to reset it like my old GoPro, which would constantly just reset, and I was trying to get it to work over and over and over. So better image quality, better picture, SDI connection, which works with our new switcher, which is very important. So I can control everything from my desk. I can control that camera, and it's just good. It's just good all the way around. Oh, I forgot to do something. Hang on one second. I'm not going to tell you what it is. But come on. There we go. I fixed it. Whatever it is, I fixed it. You're welcome to take a seat now. So seats are working now. I fixed them, just barely.
I saw a chicken.
I did not see the cat eating the salad. You sent me something, but for some reason I couldn't see. Like it wouldn't let me open it. I'm trying to remember where you sent it, or maybe I read the description. I wasn't able to see the video, but you said it was a cat eating a salad. The video I needed to look. I've never looked for and now could find or something like that. I don't think cats like salad. Good morning. How's your week? How's your, for those of you in the United States, Thanksgiving week, which means a short week for us.
Happy birthday. You look good.
Ooh. We have a birthday today. And it's Cheryl. Groovy Cheryl. We're going to sing just to Groovy Cheryl apparently today. Green-eyed cat, he loves it.
Talking about stuff that is not relevant.
I will watch for that. I know I saw it somewhere. I'll look again. All right, it's time to sing happy birthday to Groovy Cheryl. Let's see if anybody else is here that needs to be sung to. I'm not seeing any hands. If so, you need to raise them quickly because once the music stops, it's too late. It's like Monopoly. You've lost your opportunity to charge rent if you don't come forward at the right time. Join with me if you will. Warm up with me if you will. La 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 la. Excellent. Stand up. Deep breath. Shoulders back. Blend your voice. Project your voice to the back of the room. Dancers at the ready. We're going to sing to Groovy Cheryl. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Groovy Groovy Cheryl, happy birthday. It's a great day for a birthday because it's today. And if you didn't have a birthday today, we'd be very sad because we wouldn't have anyone to sing to. So thank you for letting us sing to you today. Help yourself to free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP, Village Inn, Waffle House, free cookie at Crumble.
You look good.
Yeah, you look good. Happy birthday. Doing great. 21 again, right? How many years in a row was this, Groovy Cheryl? I realize there are a million places you could be, a million people you could be with, but you've chosen to be here and celebrate with us. The privilege and pleasure is ours. Uh-oh. Happy birthday to Cameron, too. Next verse, we have to sing to Cameron. Here we go. Happy birthday. Oh, wait. Interlude, guys. I forget how the song goes. We'll get Cameron sung to in just a minute. Here we go. This is like the a cappella verse. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Cameron. Happy birthday to you. I said happy birthday to Cameron instead of dear Cameron. Happy birthday, Cameron. Included in all the birthday wishes and the free pancakes and everything else, cookie at Crumble. You are. Consider yourself included. Thank you very much. I redeemed myself. Mod chat, please, says Josh. Let me check. Okay, yes. Drum solo coming up. Thank you, Josh. We have something cool for you. Air drums at the ready. Beautiful. Big finish. It was wonderful. Happy birthday. Thank you, Groovy Cheryl and Cameron. All right, we have a little bit of fun to do. I've got to tell you, I was going to take this in a different direction today because we have a city council meeting out of Texas that is nuts that we wanted to wade into, and it's probably going to end in a lawsuit. I think there's already lawsuits been filed in the city as a result of some of the city council shenanigans. It's crazy. The allegations of who owes back taxes to the IRS and who's taking bribes under the table in an open recorded meeting. It's just wonderful. You guys are going to love it. It's like Canton times 2 because all the fighting is happening on the board instead of in the audience. It is so wild. Anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. But apparently, Josh, has it already happened? Do we have to go back a little bit this morning? Let's see if we can find. I think it's happening right now. Hang on, let's go back just a little bit. We're going back to a little SovSit situation, I think. Let's see. Started just a couple of moments ago. Okay.
So basically, the argument is your Terex is not a motor vehicle. Well, it's not an ORV, not an ORV. Okay.
It just barely brought it.
So I saw your response this morning. I saw your reply to her response.
This is how it starts.
By the way, hit the reply.
SovSit.
All right. So I think we've all seen the same paperwork. Okay. You want to hit some highlights of your argument?
I mean, my argument's pretty much covered the whole thing. And like I said, again, this goes back to just trying to label this an ORV. And it's strict ORV, like if I took a monster truck up on the roadway that takes up whole roadways, can't turn, make turns in roadway, right? The way the statute's applied, they could be, and for instance, they advertise like Ford Raptors and such, right? They show them in all the commercials going up mountains, same with Jeeps, they advertise, hey, take them all off road, right? So the way the statute's written, they can just basically be like, oh, hey, anything with that looks like, pretty much any vehicle is capable of going off road. So at any given time, the way the statute's being applied to me, they can just, any vehicle is capable of being taken off road.
Let me stop you though. Let me stop you. That's actually a different argument. So one argument is your Terex is not an ORV. The other argument is their ordinance or the statute they're applying is just too vague. It's just unconstitutionally vague. Would you agree with me? That's two different arguments?
I think they tie together.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. But the reason I want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I think there's two different responses that could come and two different decisions that could be made. Would you agree with me? Okay. So I want to take them one at a time then. So first is, well, one would be your Terex is not an ORV, doesn't meet the definition. And the second argument would be, and the definition they're using is overly vague. Okay. So, Madam Prosecutor, pick one of those arguments. Let's pick one and we'll talk about one at a time.
Certainly, Your Honor. Let's start with whether or not utility.
Just call it Terex. Just call it, let's make it specific to him, the Terex.
324-81122.
Oh, give me that again. I was somewhere else when you started talking. Go ahead. MCL.
81101 sub U defines ORV as a vehicle, a motor-driven off-road recreation vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of a road or trail on or immediately over land, snow, ice, marsh, swampland, or other natural terrain. It goes on to give examples of what is included in an ORV and what are not included as.
Terex makes tractors and cranes.
Here, the utility terrain vehicle, as Mr. Cusell labels it, is an off-road vehicle. Exhibit A that I included in my motion is a.
Let me stop you. I'm sorry. In your reply to his motion, is that where your Exhibit A is? Okay, go ahead.
Owner's manual of the Terex. Particularly stated under basic safety off-road vehicle, off-highway use only. This vehicle is not an all-terrain vehicle. It is designed and equipped to be a multi-use utility vehicle for off-highway use only. Use of this vehicle on public roads and paved surfaces is hazardous. Do not operate this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. In addition, in Exhibit B, I included a relevant portion of the ORV handbook that is found on the State of Michigan's website, and it includes utility terrain vehicles as an ORV. It also, conveniently enough, includes a photo of a near identical ORV that Mr. Cusell operated back on February 3rd of this year.
Okay, so this is wild. This guy drives a tractor or a dump truck or a mini dumper, and they're treating it like an off-road vehicle.
Further, Mr. Cusell then goes on to liken it to something like a Ford Raptor, a Jeep, monster truck. The multi-purpose personal use vehicle used for personal family conveyance. MCL 324.8112 sub 1 states that an individual shall not operate an ORV that is not registered under the code upon a street, county road, or highway. A Ford Raptor, Jeep, and a monster truck all need to be registered in order to operate on.
Right.
Mr. Cusell was not pulled over for his existence operating an ORV, but because that ORV was not registered, did not have a license plate. For that reason, I believe that this motion should be dismissed and the people renew their request for registration.
I have an objection to that, Your Honor.
Yeah, well, it's not an objection, it's a response, but go ahead.
Okay, well, again, none of the registration or any of that stuff was even brought up. Any of it, they slapped an ORV on it because they had me held in the car for 45 minutes on the phone. I had a body cam trying to figure out what to even charge me with because I wasn't pulled over in retaliation. And that is what they pulled me over for. Rating what was stated and put on there. And going back to liability or the not operating on highway use, it's referring to, we purchased those, I don't know if that are bought one or used them. They tell you that they come stock to only go about 50-ish miles an hour. You can get a module to make it go highway speeds when they're referring to highway.
I saw that in your response.
The higher speeds, and that would be the reason why. And I think everyone does nowadays see how common these UTVs are, see them all over the place.
I got to shoot you down there though, because you spend a lot of time talking about that you see these all over. That doesn't make them legal. I mean, that just bottom line doesn't make them legal. The fact that some, for example, some communities just kind of like turn a blind eye to golf carts, right? That's not necessarily saying they're legal. That's just saying they're not enforcing them. Now that gets to your other argument, which, does that create an unfair situation? But I gotta shut you down there, because just because you see them doesn't mean they're legal. But let's get back to that language you used. Like, I gotta find it. Oh, okay.
Kawasaki
Do
makes
not
a
operate
Terex.
this vehicle on public roads or paved surfaces. I understand your argument is they're telling you to stay off the highway with a stock Terex, but they didn't say highway. They said not safe for public roads or paved surfaces. That's what they said.
What?
So I'm just,
Again, it's why I was saying how they put on bicycles, they wear all those knee pads and helmets, right? So
I understand that.
They don't operate on public roadways without a helmet.
I understand that's your take on what this means, but the clear language says don't go on paved surfaces.
Yes, clear language is the same with the manuals for, again, dirt bikes, motorcycles, right? Yeah, that's still legal for people to drive around without helmets.
All right.
Because it's a liability issue, that's why they put it in there.
So
What people do with something after they purchase it.
So my understanding is that if you jump through the hoops, if you go through the process, it's possible, you might have to add some equipment to your Terex or whatever, but it's possible to get some of these vehicles registered as roadworthy with the Secretary of State. That's my understanding. If it's got, and I made a list, if it's got bumpers at the correct height, it's got windshield and wipers and rear view mirrors. If it's got all this safety equipment, then you can get it registered and put it on the road legally. Is that your understanding?
Oh, no, in my defense, before this even happened, Sergeant Bryce, there was a bar there.
No. Hold on. I'm talking generally. I'm not talking specifically to you. I'm talking generally speaking. Do you agree with me that there is a process that the state of Michigan has that you can take something that may be an off-road vehicle and you can go through steps and have it roadworthy and registered as such with the state of Michigan? Do you understand?
Let me show you what he's talking about
process
here.
for that?
For certain vehicles, I would say yes.
Okay. All right.
This is a Kawasaki Terex.
They are already equipped and sold road ready.
Okay.
Again, you go back to the disclaimer, just because they put it in there, it's a disclaimer for their.
Then why have you not registered as a vehicle with the state of Michigan?
Sergeant Bryce told me as well within my lawful rights. I said, I stated numerous times, both to me and my wife at the gas station right where I got pulled over. Well, previously to this, we even talked about it. We had a conversation about it at the gas station. The BP stood in the middle. He instructed, even told me, you're well within your lawful rights.
Okay.
He said this numerous times. And then I relayed this to Officer I don't know.
The officer that wrote the ticket.
Yeah. Right. And then when I asked him the second interaction I had with him, I asked him, dude, I need to get you, which is part of the body cam. I'm still trying to get a hold of these things because I have to take them to court for it because they're withholding body cam image. Where I asked him, hey, I need you to get a supervisor to clarify this because he told me I'm not getting a pissing match and drove away. So
all right, stop there. Hold on. Is it your understanding that there's a mechanism by which if the safety equipment is there, then the vehicle can be registered with the state of Michigan?
But it's my understanding that the specific township or municipality needs to adopt or identify certain roadways that they are then able to operate on. As far as I know, the township of Huron doesn't have any that are safely permitted. I do believe that.
Hold on. You're telling me if the state of Michigan registers it as a motor vehicle, you guys can still say you can't go on your roads?
I believe it's county owned roads. Or it's my
even though the state says it's a motor vehicle, because that's my understanding. If the state registers it as a motor vehicle, that's what they're doing after all the safety equipment is there.
But I believe it's for limited use. So there's examples in the statute that talks about for limited purposes of say parades or something to that effect.
Again, Your Honor.
Hold on. I'm cogitating. Well, it would seem to me that the township's got to get off its ass and do something with their ordinances on register. I mean, if the state's out there authorizing people to drive these on pavement and you guys just haven't decided where they can and can't, it sounds like the township's got to get on the board.
I could even look up their one that's decided, to be honest, and said they didn't exist.
What doesn't exist? I'm sorry.
The thing they're trying to charge me with, the code they gave, he said it doesn't even exist. I couldn't even look it up.
Brother, you keep throwing new arguments in.
No, I'm sorry. Well, I'm just bringing it up.
Hold on. Let's not get there yet. Make a note so you don't forget to get there, but don't get there yet.
He might be winning.
I'm having trouble figuring out how the township can tell somebody they can't operate a motor vehicle that the state of Michigan says is a motor vehicle.
Yep.
Your Honor, I am not specifically prepared to argue that only because Mr. Cruzel's ORV wasn't registered, so it has no bearing on whether or not it can operate.
But it can be.
Souls.
Well, don't get me started with that. I mean,
Is he going to dismiss this case? Tell him to get it registered?
all right, so let's talk about the fact that they've charged you under an ordinance that doesn't exist. My paraphrase of your argument.
Yeah, I've been trying to clarify too and bring it up too, and I've been trying to find it. Doesn't even, the code they cited doesn't even exist.
All right, hold on. Let me get to the paperwork.
Doesn't exist. They just made up a number.
That's just one fact I wanted to throw.
Hold on. Don't do that. You're confusing me.
Okay.
Make your notes so you don't forget.
Angelique says, my understanding living in Michigan, asked a cop about these, but all cops
All
are
right,
different. I was
so-
told no. And only if up to a mile to get to a dirt road.
If we look at the ticket, offense code is 257311. Authorization code is, I don't know what that is, 00003?
Yeah, I figured.
Is that, I'm reading it 00003. So I guess let's get a clarification from the prosecutor. What is a specific ordinance, statute, whatever, that the ORV on roadway is being prosecuted under?
So here on adopts the Michigan Traffic Code, which I could reference to, but I also stated in my motion that.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but the reply that I'm looking at for today?
Yes.
All right, so let us both know where to find that. Yep.
And my final argument, or my final sentence before my argument. Ultimately,
Okay.
or on the roadway in violation of MCL 324 and 81122 and Huron Township Ordinance 506-4, which I do have a copy, and it is on and available on E-Code 360. Which is
Okay. Could you provide a copy of that to Mr. Purcell? You only have one copy?
I do.
That's all right. Mr. Cruzel and I can share it. Yeah, probably helpful. Mr. Cruzel, why don't you let me have that for just a minute. We'll make copies. So then you've got a copy, I've got a copy. You got a copy for yourself, counsel?
I don't, but it's word for word, which is the action.
Let's make a couple copies of it.
Copies all around. Tisha, I haven't heard of Ants Canada on YouTube. So this guy drove his off-highway
All right, so while we're waiting for those copies,
to the gas station to get gas. Where they
I would like
arrested
to
him.
also add, Your Honor, to make this even more interesting, the township is doing, Police Chief Robbins, we know him.
hold on. Two.
Not relevant. He keeps believing there's some sort of conspiracy against him. When in fact we're here today for operating an ORV on the roadway back in February. If there's any conspiracy, it's one that Mr. Fusel's orchestrated himself.
Okay. Hold on.
Let's hear it.
I think your objection might have been a little bit premature. I don't even know where he's going.
So what's funny about with the ORV thing is because Police Chief Robbins, we've known him forever, he's at our personal ORV, had his, my dad, same thing.
Okay.
He even contacted my dad and had asked him, he's here, asked him to have me call him because he couldn't call me for legal reasons. And when he said, he brought up and goes, man, you can't have an ORV, bro. So he's trying to work out, he even told me he wanted to work out a deal with me, when he sold on the phone. And,
That's simply not true.
It's very true. You can text. They have given text.
Well, okay. Well, hold on. Neither one of you were in on the conversation. So you sit down. Let me hear what he's got to say.
So I called Everett, voicemail, he called me back, and he started off saying, no, man, you can have an RV. You and I both know it's not just an RV. And then he goes on to call it, he goes, oh, well, you can't have a motor vehicle. So then he flip-flopped the terminology.
Okay.
And there as well.
But what's, I don't mean this to sound condescending, but what's the point of that story?
So they're just, the original stop, because again,
there's confusion.
Yeah, and that's why they kept me in the car so long, because they were trying to figure out what to even do, and that's
right.
What came out of it.
Right.
Right. So that's where this little ORV statute is trying to be applied to my situation.
Okay. All right. Okay. I don't doubt there's confusion. I mean, I'm here. I'm here.
Terry,
okay.
Thank you very much.
All
Congratulations.
right, let's get back to the
22
paperwork.
months on the jury. Thank you so much.
You got a copy now, Mr. Crusoe? All right.
Smith is one of our great mods, as you all know.
So, counsel, if you can, show us, or direct us, I should say, to specific language where the township's hanging its hat.
Sure, so it similarly identifies the definition of an ORV on the second page.
ORV or vehicles, is that where you're reading? Okay.
And then it goes on to state
You guys tell me if this is an ORV.
Are you going to prohibited activities?
so.
Off-highway vehicle? Off-road vehicle? It's got some good clearance. Got some great shocks, good tires. A winch.
I am.
Casey
Yes,
lights.
5064 from the activities.
It looks like an off-road vehicle to me.
S. Is that where you're going?
Yes, I am.
There are some states where those are completely legal. I mean, you can go get a license plate for them as long as they have a horn. I think you need to have a windshield on them, but not necessarily all states.
All right, so
lights,
just
a horn, turn
so
signals,
we're clear.
You're good.
So he knows what he's defending against. It's 5064 S is the prohibited activity, and 5063 would provide the definition that you're trying to apply to his Terex.
And word for word is.
All right, Mr. Crusoe, now at least you know exactly what language you're fighting. Okay.
Yeah, and again with that government law, it even, he said, I put back behind me showing that even Jeeps and trucks they're advertised and sold and shown as recreational vehicles off-road and everything. This would allow the township or the state to just at any given time be like, oh, hey, we don't like you, so here we're gonna slap with an ORV mine for any vehicle that's capable of going off-road, because that's just what they want to claim it as.
So he's arguing,
it's so ambiguous, it's outrageous.
But I think her argument a few minutes ago, maybe more than a few now, was, but all of those are registered.
But that's not what was the issue with Annie. That's not what I was even, no one even brought it up at the time that I was arrested and stopped, none of that stuff. I was just stopped in peer retaliation. I wasn't charged for any of that stuff. No one brought it up. And again, going back to it, I was previously told I was lawfully allowed to do what I was doing.
What do you think the retaliation's about?
Because I had 200 encounters with this officer. He's a new hire. And what happened was this all stemmed from the fact that our neighbor.
Oh, just bad blood between you individually?
Well, I guess so, because I didn't even know him for a whole year prior to this. It's even in their notes and everything that my neighbor kept calling saying we're reckless driving with our kids. And it's even on the thing that he was intoxicated almost every time he's calling them. And they stopped coming out. And Officer Price even said, we're not coming out messing with you guys. We're not doing nothing wrong. And this is going on until this new hire kid shut up. And I told him, I was like, dude, you need to go talk to Dave. You got to go do it. This has already been taken care of. This guy keeps calling. You even told this lady, when they call him freaking
dispatcher.
Put in the note several times, the guy's intoxicated, just making calls. And that's why they stopped coming out. I told him this. And then, but yeah, it was the next day after I told him, dude, you need to go get your supervisor here, please, so we can figure this out. And that's when he told me, I'm not getting a pissing match in the left. I mean, I know his body cams, I've seen it. And that's why still part of the body cam I'm still trying to get, but they won't give me. And there's still other parts and stuff that other body cam that I know is missing. I'm still trying to get a hold of. Because and then Officer
He's
Smith,
all over the place.
they're in body cam even talking that they were purposed that all that officers, is it side or they yeah, that he was purposely watching for him. He's on the phone talking about this. He's also on the phone with Everett and a couple other officers trying to figure out applicable laws because he didn't know. They arrested me based off something he thought he could arrest me on. It wasn't even an arrestable offense. And then the only reason he found that out was because he had called the FOIA lady, Jill Evans. And then the original officer stopped me. He couldn't even finish filling out the citations. Officer Smith, who was his supervisor, had to get in the car and finish filling out. And that's what they ended up, because he's on the phone the whole time trying to figure out what to even put on the thing to charge him. It's been an orchestrated event the entire time. Up to leading how, especially shows even more that there was collusion. It's how I got an unsigned order and all this stuff sent to me. It was more just threatening and intimidation. And that's what.
Oh, unsigned order.
Yeah, in the very beginning, I got a default where it was unsigned, didn't have.
Oh, no, brother. No, brother.
I know.
Hold on. Stop. I gotta say this. Listen, that's just timing. Nobody from Huron Township called up here to one of my clerks and said, screw him. It's because it happens all the time when there's a misdemeanor tracking, people forget to deal with this. We got a speeding ticket you're in default in right now.
I mean, well, for people that work in the department, that people are always conversing between the judges and the prosecutors.
But I'm telling you right now, none of my clerks defaulted you to try to cause you trouble. It's in the computer and it happens all the time. The misdemeanor case is tracking it slower and you don't realize you got to do something different with the civil infraction. So a default enters.
No, I want to say it's worse stuff.
I'm just telling, hold on. I have to tell you, there's no conspiracy against you on that default. That's just the way shit happens. It's just because the computer tracks things differently with misdemeanors and civil infractions. And that's all fixable. Okay. Anything else that we didn't talk? I mean, I cut you off a couple times saying, don't give me a new issue at this point. Anything that you want to bring up?
He slurs his words.
I got pretty much all my arguments for being in. I mean, this is clearly, but
what's going on with the body cam? You claim you can't get body cams.
He was also reporting this incident himself, so he had.
Well, that's a different issue, though. Part of discovery is he's requested body cams. You're saying he provided those.
He's filed at least 10 FOIA requests for township, including any of the stops or any of the citizen complaints that police have been called out to. But also including his wife's traffic stop.
I'm not getting into all that, but you have provided him body cam footage of interactions. You're talking on top of me, counsel. You have provided him body cam footage of interactions between he and the officer that issued these tickets. Yes? All interactions. You don't have them.
I know for a fact there's a couple of videos missing.
All right. Do you have dates of incidents?
I do, but I don't have that stuff with me. That's all part of my lawsuit thing I'm filing for the circuit court for the FOIA lawsuit stuff. I got all that stuff organized at home for that.
But that's stuff that you think you need to defend yourself here.
Well, if
it's not, that's okay.
Well, I mean, it would also just schedule.
No, I just need to know, because if you're prepping to defend for trial and that's discovery you think you need, then I'm going to order that they provide it.
Well, I'm here.
Okay, all right. So you don't need that to prepare for this case.
Not this motion here.
No. The underlying charges against you.
Oh, I would absolutely need that if this is
okay. Then we're going to need you to provide dates. So you want body cam footage if it exists from interaction between you and officer so and so for this date and that date. All right.
This judge actually has a rapport with the defendant.
Sure, go ahead.
This is crazy.
Essentially, he has been given all of those. It's my understanding that he initially appealed the FOIA, which went to the township supervisor. The township supervisor acknowledged the redacted portions were legal material and returned that to Mr. Cusel. He then appealed the appeal, which went to my office, and we confirmed again that the only redactions are legal material. I think he's appealed us twice more. So it's not relevant for a portion of it.
Are you saying you never got the body cam footage, or you got the body cam footage and things were redacted?
Oh, well, those are part of the issues too. There's body cam and stuff and that's the problem, is there's all sorts of stuff that's redacted in body cams and in the reports. and then there's stuff missing.
Okay, hold on. Then you acknowledge that they've sent you those body cam footages
So,
for the interaction between you and the officer?
The incident before specifically the one I want, and that I know is missing, is the one before he pulled me over, but the day before he pulled me over.
Okay.
Where I asked for
Okay.
missing message trouble.
Prior to these tickets being issued, there was an interaction between that officer and yourself. That you've never seen the video,
No.
the body cam footage.
Well, I've been,
Okay.
again,
Do you know whether or not that's been submitted?
As far as I know, having a request of these days been billed at
All right.
the that is paid.
All right, but now you're talking about FOIA stuff. I'm talking about that body cam. That's all I'm talking about is one body cam. Okay. All right. But you can't, off the top of your head, you can't give me that incident date.
no, that wasn't.
All right. All right. So submit a formal request for body cam footage from that date to the prosecutor. She can check it out, see if it's been submitted to you prior. She can tell you when, she can resubmit it. She can file a motion with me and say, I'm not going to submit that because, and we'll go from there. All right. That's that one specific issue. Agreed? Okay. All right, let's get back to your argument, Mr. Crucell, that the language that we just went over is overly broad or vague. Let's hit that again. So is it the definition of the ORV that you think is overly broad?
Oh, absolutely. It basically encompasses any, they said, it even says, any vehicle capable of cross-country travel without benefit of the road, right? And that's any vehicle, I mean, you can even take a smart car off the road if you wanted to, essentially. I mean, and that's what I mean. I mean, the way this reads, they could just apply that anytime they want to any vehicle, whenever they want.
Hey, and there's for God. Welcome.
If I'm understanding your argument, I drive an F-150, all right? So we would probably agree that we could take that off the road.
Well,
You and I.
in commercial, so that's what they.
Right. So your argument is because they could write ORV on a roadway for that means this statute or this ordinance is overly broad. All right. Except they can't because the state of Michigan has licensed me to put my F-150 on the road.
But again, the same point, mine can be the same thing.
But it's not licensed. It can be. It can be.
If it was
and
licensed.
I would like to see you do that because then I want to see how they're going to keep you off the road. The state of Michigan said you can put that on the road.
But again, Your Honor, the whole reason that they're trying to dance around the whole thing, because if they didn't bring up none of the registration.
I know, you're getting back to the confusion
stuff, right? They're trying to use the definition of ORV to.
I get with the whole, you sat in the car for 45 minutes, they decided what to do with you. I get all that. Okay. And that's problematic for me too. But I don't find this language to be overly broad because there's the licensing aspect of it that narrows it.
So there's that conflict there, right? And that also shows the ambiguity, right? So you're saying that if I want to pay a tax stamp for something, then now all of a sudden it's not this, but then they're trying to claim it's this. So how does a tag all of a sudden make this not this? Doesn't make sense.
Hold on, you lost me.
All of a sudden, so what they're trying to claim is an ORV, but if I magically go get a tax stamp put on it, right, registered, now it's automatically just a motor vehicle. So now it falls under.
Yeah, but hold on. It's not just about the money. And believe me, brother, I'm the first one to jump in the bandwagon with you about the government grabbing money. All right. I fight that here. But it's more than that, because let's just pick the specific example of an ORV. I could build myself a dune buggy, right? Completely manufactured. I couldn't because I'm not handy that way. But I mean, you know what I mean. I could get tubular stock and build a frame, and I could just grab a motor, an engine off of something else and fabricate a drivetrain. And I could have something that I could take off, go through the trails and the hills. Would you agree with me? No, but I mean, I'm just like, build it from scratch, right? I'm Henry Ford. I built it from scratch and it's out there running around. But if I get it registered as a motor vehicle by the state of Michigan, they're putting their rubber stamp of approval on it, saying it's safe for me to put on their roads. There's a safety issue, not just a money grab. And that's the way I'm looking at this, because from my little bit of research, if I got to find it, if I want to go through the process to get my manufactured vehicle roadworthy, I've got to have tail lights. I've got high and low beam headlights. I've got to have turn signals, front and rear. I got to have a rear view mirror. The state of Michigan is checking all these things off before they license me or register me to put it on the road. And they're saying, they being the state of Michigan, saying it's safe to get on the road with the F-150s that you and I drive.
Yeah, but again, you're giving an example of someone building something. The thing that my vehicle already comes quick and built and manufactured that way.
But here's the difference. Here's the difference. I can guarantee you that if somebody took the time and researched what these roadworthy requirements were state by state, they would be different. There'd be similarities, but they'd be different. So for Terex to sell it and say it's roadworthy, they're not guaranteeing you that it's legal in Michigan. They can't.
Well, that's why I put those disclaimers on. The other thing too.
Stop. I'm not done with my argument. That's where the registration process comes from. The individual states saying, yeah, Crucell, we think your Terex is legal on Michigan roads. That's the whole part of the process that changes from just any old thing that they decide they want to ticket somebody because they had it on the roadway. They could claim it's an ORV. No, they can't, because it's registered, my F-150, your F-150. It's registered with the state of Michigan as a motor vehicle, i.e. legal to be on the roads. That's what kills your overly broad argument, is because there's a process by which it is no longer an ORV. It's now roadworthy because the state of Michigan is registered as such.
But again, the state of Michigan is arbitrarily trying to convert everyone's right to travel by saying
that's a different argument.
Yeah,
that's a different argument.
I get where you're trying to go with this. I understand it. But again, you look at this definition, and no one said anything. Again, this all goes back to, I was not cited for no registration. I was not cited for insurance. None of that stuff even was even brought up. It was strictly the ORV that they're trying to stick to. And again, by going off this definition, that can be any single vehicle in the world. Anything that they want is capable of going off road.
Well, but here's my ruling. Here's my ruling. Because there's a process to register vehicles, whether or not they're ORVs, F-150s, whatever they are, because there's a process in the state of Michigan that's to register them as roadworthy, I don't think that's overly broad language. Because I think you can't read everything in a vacuum.
The important thing is the judge said,
my
here's
ruling
my
is,
ruling.
on that motion, my ruling is, I deny your motion that it's overly broad. I don't believe it is. But I still have problems with the way the whole thing went down. I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that, because, and I think I've told you this from the beginning. I get it. Matter of fact, I think the first day you were here, I get it. You've had interactions with Huron Township police officers that said you're good, and now all of a sudden this guy says you're not good, and here we are. I mean, that's blatantly unfair. Whether or not it was accidental or by design, it's still like, okay, that's not fair, but that's the way things happen. All right. There's not a hell of a lot of there's a distinction, but if I drive 75 miles an hour on 275 every day, and I go by 3 officers, Huron officers, and they don't stop me because I'm only going 5 over, but the state stops me and writes me for going 1 to 6 over. It's kind of unfair, but clearly I violated the law. You follow me?
Yeah, we were comparing to the department.
It's apples and oranges.
Yeah.
Right. Which is what I told you way back when. It's like, hey, I get it. It's unfair, but the tickets were issued. We got to go through the process and deal with it. Hold on. Stop. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to deal with the unfairness in the process. Okay.
Right. I get what you're saying. But again, if I was charging this in, say, Flat Rock, and I tried pulling this, well, Huron told me, then I get that.
Oh, absolutely. Your argument's much stronger in Huron. Absolutely. And once again, I'm feeling it. Okay, I told you from the beginning. I get it. It's not. It stinks. Okay. Do you know what the process is to register the Terex to put it on the road?
I get what the state's process is to register vehicles.
How long would it take? If you know.
Well,
I don't have a clue.
That's been part of it. If I was looking to do that, I would. But again, I've been confirmed that I had my lawful right to travel by several different, including, again, this all stems from the traffic sergeant in Huron telling me that I have the lawful right to do what I have to do. So I don't have any intention.
Well, what do you think the chances are of him coming in here and testify to that?
I don't think that he would incriminate himself.
So you're planning on issuing a subpoena? So you're going to issue a subpoena to him for trial?
And his fiance or girlfriend, because she was also the one relaying all the information to my wife about the same thing. So yeah, I would absolutely subpoena both of them to have them come here. I have a whole slew of people on the subpoena in there.
Right. Are you willing to register the Terex? It would help resolve things?
I remember you pointing out that she would like to have a traveling argument. If I got brought into
No, don't go with the traveling argument. To resolve these issues, would you be willing to register your vehicle with the state of Michigan, the Terex?
Not at this point, no.
Okay.
The judge is giving you a free pass.
Yeah, there's other arguments that I have lots of stuff to show where the conflict with that is too. But again, that's not what we're here for.
He wants the fight.
What do you think we're here for?
ORV and road. We're not here for registration, none of that stuff. That wasn't part of
but I'm trying to resolve issues. Okay. All right. Because
I'm not just going to run around and make this big deal with Huron. I'm not a criminal. I have no criminal history. I was just doing something I was lawfully had the right to do. It was confirmed I had the lawful right to do. And then now here we all are dealing with all this. And I'm being targeted by people that, and I've got good friends that work in the department. We've been, again, we've known Everett, we've been a part of this forever, and then now all of a sudden.
Here's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing you want your trial. Because I don't think anything else is going to satisfy you other than to get your trial.
This needs to be dismissed the way it should have been. Yeah.
But you don't have a legal argument that I can hang my hat on to dismiss it.
I have all sorts of legal aspects to show that the whole beginning of this was an unlawful stop.
You've never even argued that. You've never filed a motion to dismiss for lack of probable cause.
At the very beginning, and you dismissed it saying, I find probable cause just because I have all the reporting.
Oh, you did. Yeah, you did. Because I said you're going down the roadway and you're doing something he thinks is illegal, gives him a right to stop you.
Yeah, but again, that goes back to the point that we had interactions and he chose to retaliate against instead of going to talk to a traffic sergeant who's above him, right? Who is ahead of the traffic, who's the one that confirmed that I had every lawful right to do what I was doing.
Hold on.
Could cost $100, $200 to register it.
Above Sergeant Price, and he confirmed that operating an automated roadway is, that's why it's a very cheap citation.
Yeah, but you don't think it's going to be problematic if Price sits on the stand and says 2 different times I told him he could do what he was doing?
And also since I did make contact with Mr. Cruzell multiple times to notify him that he was not to operate an ORV in the roadway. And during the stop, Mr. Cruzell himself said I was waiting for this.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, if Price sits there and says on 2 different occasions, I told this guy that he could operate that vehicle on these roads, I can't see any trier of fact convicting him of the ORV.
That's true. Why didn't he have him here for our trials?
I don't know.
Again, because there's all sorts of issues. And all that paper I've been filing, there's issues the whole entire time. I had no intentions of doing any trial. And I even sat here the other day when I said I'm not participating, especially in a trial that ends in a court that owned by the state, you're owned by the state.
Let's talk about that. Hold on. Let's talk about that. Because I highlighted that when I got your motion last week or whatever it was. Okay. That's not the case. Okay. Huron Township, let me finish. Huron Township is bringing the charge against you. It's the Township of Huron versus you. It's not the state of Michigan.
It says the state. Even one of those. Not even says the state of Michigan against you.
It's a separate legal entity.
Neil Gorsuch is, Justice Gorsuch, he's even coming out in the Reagan Center, even talking about how courts like these, that's what they're doing. They're denying people their rights, and they're only bringing the charges and judging their own cases. That is exactly what it is. You can't have a fair trial that way. Absolutely not. And not to mention that.
All right, well, let me stop you. That's the way our system is at this point in time. That's the only system we've got, is where the judiciary runs the courts, the legislature creates the law, and the executive branch enforces them. That's the system we have. If you don't like it, work to change it, but that's the system you've been charged in, and that's the system you've got.
And with the Chevron deference case being overturned, that explicitly stops them all of the referring to the statutory, all this stuff, the statutory stuff.
All right, you're getting nowhere with any of those arguments, Mr. Crisell. You're not going to get anywhere with those arguments at this level. So the only thing you can do is get a judgment here that you can appeal to the next level and appeal that to the next level. And ultimately, you may end up at the U.S. Supreme Court and have somebody agree with you. But you can't, that doesn't work here. We've got to deal with what we've got. I've got to deal with the precedents that we've got in place now, not your arguments that you think are going to be accepted down the road. That's the reality. All right. You and I can sit down over a cup of coffee, or I don't drink coffee, but whatever, and talk about how there are, problems with the system. But the system we have now is the only system I've got to work, and I'm going to work it. So what I'm hearing from you is we got to get a trial date and let you get a decision. If you win, beautiful, you can stop there. If you lose, you're moving up the appeal chain. Because none of the arguments you've got apply here. Your travel argument, I'm not buying that. That's never been accepted anywhere that I know of that I've got any reason to follow. I told you.
State's auditors, they've been doing it for a very long time.
Say that again?
The state is, but the state is going and trying to take people's right to travel and saying that everybody has to have these license and all these things.
Absolutely. And but hold on. It's well established law, might be changed somewhere down the road, but currently it's well established law that if you're traveling by means of a motor vehicle, you have to have a operator's license.
Actually, the federal codes in all the states.
This is not a federal court, sir. This is not a federal court.
Okay, go back to Florida, right? Shows again, it's another ambiguous statute.
Okay, look, I'm not going to argue this. I've already argued this with you. I've made it clear from day one that your traveling argument dies. It doesn't go anywhere in this court. So stop arguing that. It's not going to get you to where you need to be, which is to resolve these files one way or the other so you can appeal it if you want to. You follow me?
Well, I get very well to take it, yes.
No, it's not where I want you to take it. It's where you have to take it, because we're not going to have these same arguments ad infinitum over and over and over again. We're going to close these files at some point. But that's because you want them to, doesn't mean it's going to happen that way. I'm not going to dismiss these just because you don't like the way things went down. I don't like the way things went down. But the process has to be followed.
This judge has so much patience.
As much as I would like to just make this go away, I'm not going to agree with you just to make the case go away.
It's very obvious what took place.
No, it's not. But once again, Mr. Crisell, it's obvious to you, but you're not the guy up here in the black robe that's making the decisions. It's obvious to you because that's the only way you can see it. And I get that. Right? I get it. It's your position. You're passionate about your position, but where you're losing it is you just won't accept the fact that I don't agree with you. I'm in charge and it's got to move forward. That's just the reality of it. And once again, man, I hope you appeal it. I hope you make some new law. Good for you.
I mean,
so now we need a trial date.
Which I completed the judgment trial.
But once again, I don't care if you object. Listen to me. Listen to me. It's not being dismissed. That means we have to try it to make it go away. That's the way the process works.
Again, how is one supposed to be, and again, you yourself, and I've watched you in numerous other videos, okay, I've seen, because you made yourself, and you're on TikTok all over the place. And I've seen the things you say to everyone, it's very obvious, and you yourself has even admitted to saying things the same way. There is no way that I would ever have a fair trial. Any way, shape, or form.
And that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Once again, just because I happen to agree with the prosecutor or any other party in a case doesn't mean I'm biased against the other party. At any point in time, I've got to make a decision. Somebody's right, somebody's wrong.
That, right, to make it seem like you're not, but it is exactly how it is. The prosecutor and these courts, they work together. But it's all owned by the state.
Then once again, Mr. Crisell, then you need to appeal my decision when I told you I was not going to recuse myself. You should have appealed that. But we're not going to keep plowing the same field. I'm going to set a trial date, and you're going to be here for trial, or I'm going to issue a bench warrant. I don't know any other way to resolve the file. I've got to resolve these files. You need these files resolved. If you want to appeal me, you got to have a decision to appeal.
Yeah.
So, you keep sitting there and say, I'm not going to participate in a trial. At some point, you have to, if you want these to go away. And hear my heart, if I knew of another way to get you to where you want to go, I'd throw that suggestion out there. But once again, I'm not just going to roll over and say, okay, case dismissed, because I don't buy your legal arguments.
Which is, again, wild to me, because it's very clearly that this ORV thing is being overly applied, because it's not.
But once again, it's clear to you. I just told you I don't agree with you. But you can't accept the fact that I might disagree with you. That's unhealthy. I mean, you can believe I'm wrong. That's okay. But you got to accept the fact that I'm in the judgment seat and I've said you're wrong. Then appeal me. That's the way the process works. I understand you think the process is faulty, but that's the process we have. So if you've got some other way to resolve these files, a suggestion, I'm open to hear it. But the only thing I can say is we got to get a trial scheduled and let the chips fall.
Yep. And we need to watch that
And
trial.
I'd love to have you bring Officer Price in here. Because I told you from the beginning, I believe that inadvertent or not otherwise, the Township of Huron kind of set you up to get the ORV ticket. Because I believe that you've been told in the past that you were okay. I believe that.
100%.
But I can't do anything with it here. Put Price on the stand and he says, I guess I was wrong because I told him he could do that. So what are we going to do? You ready to set a trial?
Yes. Say
Leaving
yes.
with no other option.
There is. I don't know of any other option, Mr. Crisell. I honestly, brother, I don't know of any other option.
Well, I mean, again,
because I can't keep kicking the can down the road. I mean, I can't have this. I can't retire down the road and still have these open files here. I mean, I'm not doing my job, and I don't think it's doing you any good.
been a nuisance.
What's it going on? Year and a half now? Closer to 2. Coming on 2.
2 years
No,
on the
it was February
infraction.
24. 24. Yeah. All right. So you want a bench trial? Or you want a jury trial?
Bench.
I'll do a jury trial.
All right. You're going to represent yourself? Okay. Let's get a date.
You have an ally on the bench.
You do January 30th, Thursday.
You go with the jury trial. You have, 6, 12? I don't know how many people. Probably 6 people who all pay their registration for their vehicles. And they're going to go in there and say, oh, he wants to ride his ATV on the street without... The jury's not going to buy this in a heartbeat.
What day was it? Thursday?
The judge even teased it to him and said, look, you get Price,
so
Officer Price on the stand.
The prosecutor an email with a specific date for that video you're looking for that body cam footage, I should say. Right?
He's nodding. Judge said, you get Price to say it twice on the stand, and you've got it. You've got yourself a case. His words, no trier of fact would convict. He's a trier of fact.
Okay.
If it's a bench trial.
No further motions. We're going to trial. Well, the only other motion I'll entertain now is if it's a discovery motion. Understood, Mr. Cassell?
Well.
All right. Questions? All right. Good luck.
Real quick, I mean, you believe we're going to do files here in the firm, you guys have a bench warrant.
You got a bench warrant for something?
Yeah.
What's it? A misdemeanor?
Yeah.
And the case number for
No else.
You got it?
Yes.
All right. We can get you a case or a court date for that, ma'am. Mr. Crisell, we've got a speeding ticket that's got nothing to do with this incident, I think, from August 21, 24.
Signing this for retaliation stuff.
Okay. Who was that officer?
Austin Harold.
Okay. Did Merrill have anything to do with the other ones?
My wife on her dead end the road, and again, that's a
Hold on. Merrill didn't have anything to do with the February incident, did he?
not bad, no.
Okay. All right.
Title.
So what are you going to do on this? Once again, it's in default because you didn't do anything with it. So
I
what do you
didn't
do
do
with it?
that. Paperwork, no one responded to anything to my paperwork.
What'd you file on this?
I got a, affidavit with the ball in there.
Yeah, none of that does anything. That's more of the bullshit that we just ignore that stuff. So you want a hearing? Well, if you want him to prove it, then you ask for a hearing. You don't just file paperwork.
I told her if it wants to schedule the date, you can give me a date.
Okay. Well, you don't ask the clerk if she wants to set a date. If you want to fight a ticket, you say, I want to contest this ticket. I need a hearing. So do you want a formal hearing date? I'll give you a formal hearing date. All right.
Filling up the judge's calendar.
You want to do that
with this
before
guy.
the jury trial? Sure, I have any formal hearing dates coming up.
We can do it on December 10th, so we'll keep it.
December 10th?
Okay. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, yeah. Just my regular Tuesday, you mean?
It's a Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
Okay.
So formal hearing, what time do you do it? December 10th?
Do 10:30.
December 10th at 10:30. That's going to be the speeding ticket.
She's here all morning, so I'm asking you, 10:30?
And that's on the speed.
Yeah, the case ending in 143.
Don't let me forget this one, guys. Josh, flag this. We've got a speeding
Then the
ticket
other
coming
civil
up.
infraction is the CCW disclosure thing.
Which goes-
That's going with the February. You understood that?
I mean, you have before or after. No.
Usually after. Yeah, understood?
He's got a CCW carry
That was a
concealed
yes.
weapon.
Yeah, I got you.
That one is.
All right, anything else, folks?
Nine.
Denied. Motion to dismiss denied. Although I did like the argument.
So we'll move from our,
Yeah.
Although I did like
you get a
the
notice for her?
argument.
yeah, she's got a notice.
Ms. Crisell, your bench warrant has been set aside.
Yeah. we'll send it.
Bench warrant set aside. You're not going to get arrested today as you leave the
What
courtroom.
is that? That's a misdemeanor, though. What date you give her?
It'll be you. It's in
The 10th?
January. It's when you're
January. All right.
And your position, remember? I'm sorry.
And judge is off.
Have a good day, folks.
See you, Judge.
Yeah, there's nine.
Judge Oakley this morning.
Excellent.
Great stuff. We definitely have to follow that some more. Let me just see what's happening with as he leaves. Does he have people on his side? Oh, it looks like he's got some people with him. But all right, now we're gonna go. I want to pop in Judge Cedric Simpson's court. He's got a trial coming up today that involves a fight in a Walmart, in a Sam's Club, which is an extension of Walmart. Let's see here. Trying to find and see where that's at.
He makes toward
right
Mr.
Kashal.
Kashal.
Back up. It's starting already. Hang on. This is good. Okay, here we go. We have court with Judge Simpson. There's video, guys. There's video.
County of Washington, State of Michigan is now in session. All those having business before the court draw near. The Honorable Judge J. Cedric Simpson preside.
You may be seated. So, which one? I think I got a Warner one.
Yeah. In front of the Walmart. I've not got it yet.
She just told me, but on what I was reading, I think it's until 10. Court does call the case of the People versus Caitlin Morgan.
Morning, Your Honor. Lonnie for the People.
Is that David? No, it's not David. I'm not David.
Good morning, Cheryl Foster Tucker on behalf of Caitlin Morgan.
I called it because I like you better. All right, what are we doing?
Your Honor, I have talked to my client this morning. She says she's on her way. So.
She's late for court. Bad start.
Okay.
So I'm hoping she'll be here soon.
Me too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. That's a beautiful way to start my week. Appreciate it. Court does call the case. People versus Bahar Kasham.
That's Lonnie for the People.
Okay, we're gonna skip through just a little bit until we get to where it starts. I wish we had a time. Is it this one? Is it this one here? I think it's right here.
Washington County Internet is experiencing intermittent outages this morning, so if there's any delay in presentation of exhibits, I do apologize.
Mine's working just fine. Anyway.
I'm very glad to hear that, Your Honor.
Exit now.
We take a seat, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. See.
If this is it, I'm going to back
spell
up.
your first and last name for the record, please. I'm Nard Kilgore, B-E-R-N-A-R-D-K-I-L-G-O-R-E.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. How are you employed?
I work for Instacart.
And what capacity do you work for Instacart?
Full time.
And what do you do for Instacart?
I'm a delivery driver.
Are you a shopper as well?
This is it.
Where are some of the stores that you shop?
Okay, we're going to back up just a tiny bit.
All the major stores I do.
We've got to back up to here at the beginning of this case. I think it's going to be right about here.
Thank you, Emily. That's a beautiful way to start my week.
Okay, so this was it. Never mind. I shouldn't have skipped ahead. This is Judge J. Cedric Simpson. A trial
People versus Bahar Kasham.
This is not just a hearing. This looks like a trial.
David I. Goldstein appearing on behalf of the defendant.
There's the defendant.
Big time set for trial. Are we ready to proceed?
We are, Your Honor. There's one thing I want to talk to Mr. Goldstein about, but I just need 1 second, please.
Sure.
Can we set up for just a second?
I'm going to step outside for just a minute.
Oh, you're leaving.
Okay, right back.
No, it's okay. Nobody said they were leaving.
There's security camera video
Why
from,
bother? They're gone.
from Walmart.
No, thank you.
Sam's Club, which we're going to call Walmart today. Well, we have this little break. Let me just tell you that last night I dreamt I was playing poker against Brad Pitt and the rest of the Ocean's 11 crew. It was terrible. It was
What
terrible.
were we not doing? It was not you.
It was up.
I just thought I'd share that with you. It was quite a disturbing dream for me. I woke up in a mild state of distress.
Okay, we're on the Kasham matter. Are we now ready to?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, ready, Your Honor.
All right. Opening statements.
Yeah, Your Honor, the waive opening, if there's no objection from the defense.
No objection. I'll waive also, Your Honor.
All right. Very good. You may call your first witness.
Bernard Kilgore.
Okay, we go straight to first witness. This is a bench trial. RI's weekly. No, I lost everything. We were trying to recreate the setting, the advice from the gambler, know when to fold it.
Washington County Internet is experiencing intermittent outages this morning, so if there's any delay in presentation of exhibits, I do apologize.
They need Starlink.
Mine's working just fine. Anyway.
I'm very glad to hear that.
All right. Exit now.
We take a seat, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to affirm the testimony you're about to give me the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. See, state, spell your first and last name for the record, please. I'm Nard Kilgore, B-E-R-N-A-R-D-A-R-L, G-O-R-D.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. How are you employed?
It was.
I work for Instacart.
And what capacity do you work for Instacart?
Full time.
And what do you do for Instacart?
I'm a delivery driver.
Are you a shopper as well? Where are some of the stores that you shop?
All the major stores. I do Myers, Kroger, Target, Sam's Club, Costco, Total Wine.
Were you shopping on April 3rd, 2024?
Yeah.
What was one of the stores that you shopped at that day?
Sam's Club.
Where is Sam's Club located?
It's in Michigan.
Is that in Washtenaw County? State of Michigan?
The court will take judicial notice that Sam's Club is located in Pittsfield Township.
Is that the location on Carpenter Road out near Michigan Ave?
Yes.
What time about were you there, if you recall?
Afternoon.
What happened when you got to Sam's Club to shop that day?
I picked up an order for a customer. Order came to my phone. And as I walked into Sam's Club, there's two ways you can get into Sam's. You want me to tell you the whole thing?
Please.
Okay, so there's two ways you can get into or get to the part of Sam's Club where I go to get my boxes, which is back in the produce. You can either walk towards the front, past people that ask you if you want to change your phone service, like T-Mobile, whatever, or you can bypass them and go around the back towards the produce and end you up where the box is at, where I need.
Which way did you decide to go that day?
I always decide to go towards the back to bypass the people in the front. I'm talking to you because I'm actually working. I don't have time to slow down.
So when you talk about going around the back, like what section do you sort of loop around to get to where you like to walk?
So in Sam's Club, the first rows, I go to the back, past the automotive, pet stuff, baby stuff. And at the end of that row is the produce section of Sam's Club.
Okay. What happened as you were
take
heading?
the first row and you walk all the way down past like the eye center and like all the way down.
Yeah, so
on that back side.
That way.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nobody likes to
What
walk
were
by the
you
phone.
doing while you
seller
were
booth.
walking toward the produce section where the boxes are?
So I was looking in my phone. I'm always in my phone while I'm working, looking at the customer's item list. So I was in my phone looking at the list to see how many boxes I would need to pack their order in.
What happened?
As I'm walking and looking, walking with my cart, and looking at my phone, I'm hearing, "Is that Trip?"
Is that Trip?
Yeah, that's my middle name. Trip is my middle name. Trip is the name that I go by. I don't go by Bernard. Everybody who knows me call me Trip. Middle name.
TRIPP?
Yes.
What happened when you heard that?
So I heard, "Is that Trip?" And I'm still in my phone, but I'm not really paying attention to it slowly. And then when I look up, I see him and his daughter rushing at me and him saying, "Remember, I told you I got something for you." When I see
Let's pause there. Who's him?
Mahar.
Mahar Kasham?
Yes.
Do you see the person you know as Mahar Kasham in the courtroom?
Yes, right there in the white lady.
Your Honor, may the record reflect and was identify the defendant.
Record shows so reflect that objection.
Remember, I got
So you
something
said you
for
saw him and his daughter?
Yeah.
Had you seen his daughter before?
No.
And what happened after you saw the defendant and his daughter?
They were rushing up to me, attacking me.
What happened next?
While they were attacking me.
How did they attack you?
So before I put my phone down to defend myself, my heart was swinging on me and his daughter was swinging on me on the videos.
What happened while they were swinging on you?
My heart was punching me and his daughter was punching me, trying to punch me too, but while I was trying to keep my heart off me, his daughter reached up under and grabbed my shirt, broke my chain off. But
I wasn't trying to, I guess, punch her. She's a girl at the end of the day. I was just mushing her back, but while my heart was still swinging.
What happened after well, I guess let me ask you a different question. What happened as this was going on? Did you stay in the same location in the store?
No, so while they both were trying to attack me or jump me, they pushed me back into a emergency exit door, which sounded the alarm and that's what notified the workers, and I guess the police would come.
Are you familiar with where this emergency exit door is within Sam's Club?
Yes.
What happened after you went through the emergency exit door?
After I went through the emergency exit door, I pushed my way back inside the Sam's Club, and then I remember I was drugged to the floor, and they were still fighting.
And while this was going on, you were still physically engaged with each other, still fighting?
Yes, and I had pulled my coat over my head, so I really couldn't see when they drugged me to the floor. I don't know if it was him or his daughter that was kicking me in the back of my head.
But Mahar, was he making physical contact with you, punching, hitting, kicking something up the whole time? Now, you mentioned that there was a video. Have you had a chance to review the video this morning?
Yes.
And Your Honor, for the record, the parties did stipulate to the admission of this video. Mr. Goldstein and I have looked at it. I'm going to start it at about the 13-minute, 45-second for this clip, if the court will allow. I don't think there's any objection to starting there.
I want to see the whole thing. Okay, here we go. Sam's Club video.
In front of the Walmart.
Closed system, so.
Mr. Kilgore, can you let us know when we can see you in this video?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. My understanding is that the law recently has been that when videos are played as part of the court proceeding, the videos are the evidence. And it's not proper to narrate what's seen on the video. Now, I know that usually comes up in the context of police videos, dash cams and so forth, and the police then saying this is what happened. And the appellate courts have said, no, the video speaks for itself. So,
well, I get what you're indicating, and I do think it applies in a different context. I think the only question that was asked is where he is on the video.
Your Honor, what I was about to say was that if that's all she's going to ask him, that's fine. I'll withdraw my objection. But if she's going to ask him to narrate what's being shown, then I'm going to object.
Understood. Okay, go ahead.
May he answer the question, Your Honor?
Yes, he may.
Can you see yourself on this video at this point? I've paused it at 13:59.
Yes.
Where are you?
With the basket in the middle of the aisle.
What are you wearing?
Jacket and a hoodie under it.
And Your Honor, thank you. My only other intention is to ask if he sees the defendant on the video at some point. I don't intend to ask him to narrate what's happening in the video.
Understood. Okay. I'll allow that.
Apparently, you're not allowed to talk about
Thank
Fight
you, Your Honor.
Club in Michigan if it's on video. Is that Trip? Is that Trip? I got something for you. Whoa! Wow. Boom. Wall to wall. The cart involved. The Walmart worker. The ref. Holy smokes.
In front of the Walmart.
I think I'm about to catch a whooping.
Okay, so round one, I'm going to have to say went to the not to the defendant. The witness lost this one. Oh, round two. Just became almost was a knockout. Now the daughter says, no, let me have him, Dad. You got a turn already. Kicking the shoes off. This all happened on one camera. This is nuts. Nope. Now the daughter throws the jacket. She's like, I'm in. Let me in. Let me in. Let me at him. I don't know what instigated this. But the Sam's Club employee trying to play ref says, no, you have to start in your corner. Go back to your corner. Go back to your corner. They refusing to go back to the corner. We so need audio on this. There was something that happened before this. Oh, here we go. Round 3 is about to begin. Everyone's taking off their jackets. And round 3, begin. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Somebody just sent me a video of roaches fighting. I don't know who won.
So the alarm's been ringing for a while. Now the referee's like, look, I told them to start in their corners, and they wouldn't. Now it looks like possibly the defendant lost that round as he's slow to get up. Then a fist bump to finish it. You good? Yeah, we good. We good. All right, see ya. Same time next week? Yep. They did a fist bump to finish it. Respect, man, respect. That was a good hit. You got me right on the jaw. Right? Yeah, Really rung my bell. It's like, wait, you guys up for a 4th round? Because we can ring the bell. We can start this over again. This is nuts. This defendant's going to lose this case. He is going to absolutely lose this case. The witness was literally walking along, turned around, and got clocked. Just clocked. Picks up his gold chain, which got ripped off his neck. There's going to be restitution for that. I know there's more cameras. You've looked at the ceiling inside of Sam's Club. There's got to be like 6 angles of this. First of all, that defendant.
And for the record, I'm going to stop it at about the 18-minute and 15-second mark of the video.
That defendant should win.
Excuse me.
A civil, or not this. The witness should win a civil suit.
Did you have any injuries as a result of this incident?
Yes.
What injuries did you have?
From kicking the head, nose wrapped up.
Was your clothing damaged?
Yes.
How? Just have one moment, Your Honor.
You may.
Thank you.
You going to cross-examine this victim? There might be a whole backstory here behind why these two were upset at him, but that doesn't make it right to just swing on somebody.
I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
I have no questions.
All right, no questions. You may step down.
Is anything said to him as he walks out?
Can you just excuse?
Any objection?
Sorry, Your Honor?
Any objection to the excusing of this witness?
No.
No, this witness may be excused.
Jake Millar.
All right. Come forward, be
He
sworn.
decides to stay. He says, I'll take a seat. I want to see this go down.
See you raise your right hand. Solemnly swear to affirm the testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help God. See, state your first and last name for the record, please.
Jake Millar, J-A-K-E, kind of Y.
You may inquire.
How are you employed, sir? How long have you been in that position?
1 year as a clever.
Were you so employed on April the 3rd, 2024?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working that day? What were you wearing?
Pretty much the exact same thing I wear.
Class B uniform?
Yes, ma'am.
Displaying your badge of office?
Yes, ma'am.
What were you driving?
Fully marked.
Were you dispatched to the Sam's Club located on Carpenter Road near Michigan Avenue? I think the exact address is 5450 Carpenter Road.
Yes,
did you make contact with anybody in the courtroom on that date?
So
did you make contact with anybody who's currently in the courtroom on that date?
yes, ma'am.
Was one of those people the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
Who do you know him to be?
This is Mark, the gentleman with beer when they were there.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that this witness identified the defendant.
Without objection, record shall so reflect.
When you made contact with him, what did you notice about his appearance?
He appeared that he was in a physical altercation. His clothing was distressed as if he had been fighting with somebody. I also observed a grazing on his knuckles. He had blood on his clothing.
Did you ask him about the source of the blood?
Yes, he said that he was the victim that he was fighting with.
Did you ask him about,
He said, not
what
my
did you say
blood.
about his knuckles? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
He had abrasions on his knuckles. He had been punching something.
Okay. Did you ask him what happened?
Yes, he said that.
What did he say happened specifically in the order of events?
He said that he had recognized Mr. Kilgore, called out to him. Then Mr. Kilgore that took off his jacket and approached him with his fist closed. Then Mr. Kilgore slurs against him, threatening his daughter, that punched each other at the same time. That mutual combat.
It was mutual
That
combat.
one ended up on the ground as well. But the altercation was essentially.
I'll pass the witness.
Thank you, officer. Appreciate it. I guess happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to the police officer. Mutual combat.
Any additional witnesses for the...
No, Your Honor, full request.
At this time, Your Honor, I have a motion for a directed verdict. I guess if this was a jury trial, it'd be a directed verdict, not guilty. We have testimony of Mr. Kilgore that he tried to portray it as basically he was minding his own business and he got attacked. The officer testified that when he spoke to my client gave a different version. The interesting thing about my client's version is it's supported by the video that the court saw. The court saw Mr. Kilgore leave his cart, turn around, and approach the defendant. So at best, it was mutual combat. At worst, it was an assault by Mr. Kilgore on my client. And my client at that point was with other people. And so his swinging on Mr. Kilgore in response to Mr. Kilgore's action was appropriate, given that he felt he had to protect the two females that were with him. This was not an assault by my client. The video supports that. The video also supports that Mr. Kilgore's version is not true. That video very clearly shows Mr. Kilgore walking toward my client in an aggressive manner. So we're asking the court to find my client not guilty.
You're claiming at the point he passes that aisle, he turns around and goes back toward your client. You're not claiming, I just want to be clear, you're not claiming as he's coming down the back aisleway.
No, as you can see him push the cart, turn around and walk back toward my client.
All right, I may have to look at that again, but go ahead.
I was actually going to play the video that was admitted, Your Honor, as part of my, and then give my response, or give my response sort of along with the video. It may be just a few seconds before it originally started, but I don't think it'll be as...
While she's doing that, let me just continue. He talked about being on the ground and being kicked in the head. That doesn't show anywhere on the video. It also shows that after the initial contact between them, Mr. Kilgore continues to approach my client. Now, at that point, I will concede they're both approaching each other. I mean, as they say on the street these days, game on. But at that point, it certainly, Kilgore was not a passive victim in this particular case.
And Your Honor, in response to that, I will first play the video and then I will make my arguments.
All right.
I think we're just a few seconds before when it originally was played, but
Go ahead.
not a substantive amount.
Go ahead.
He's clearly on the phone. Somebody. Yeah, this is somebody else. Okay, here. Okay, that's him leading his posse. Now he's saying, "Is that Trip?" The guy turns around and is like, "What? Is that Trip?" Whoa. So Trip landed a couple blows. I wouldn't say it's mutual combat. That looks like kicks right there. That looks like kicks. Employee's like, "Can we get a cleanup on aisle 7? Got cat food everywhere now as a result of this. Fight is not over. Why didn't they subpoena? Oh, why didn't they subpoena the referee there in the yellow? See, the daughter is trying to hold back. No, the dad's trying to hold back the daughter. And the daughter's like, "Quit holding my jacket." And she's like, "Well, fine, I'll loose the jacket." And she hits the other girl with the jacket, whips her with it. They're on the same team. I want to know what this is about. I think the defendant needs to take the stand. Especially, now the defendant loses his jacket. It looks like he's wearing, is he wearing the same hoodie that he's wearing in court today? I think it's the same hoodie. This is a Sam's Club. Basically a overgrown Walmart. It's the weirdest thing. They fist bump. They fist bump. Like, "You good?" "Yeah, we good." That which would be indicative of a mutual combat. The wide aisles, just evidence that the wide aisles are quite useful for this, because a narrow aisle could have damaged a lot of merchandise. And then Sam's Club would have beef in this as well. And just like that, it's over. He's looking for his chain.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, I'm going to go back and just play the very beginning of it, because this is where my argument really begins. Mr. Goldstein says that the defendant was approached by the victim, and Officer Malarnek, he testified that the defendant told him that the victim took his jacket off and then swung at him. That's clearly not what's demonstrated on this video. The defendant is the first one to begin the physical contact. He's the first one to throw a punch. And we'd ask that the court deny the directed verdict motion and allow this to continue to let the court render its verdict in the matter at hand.
Your Honor, in my argument, I never.
Back up just a second.
Yes, sir.
Just Lonnie. Okay, right there.
Will that work?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge is watching the highlights.
But he is.
Your Honor, in my argument, I never mentioned who swung first. What I pointed out was that the testimony of Mr. Kilgore was that he was basically minding his own business and the defendant rushed at him. This video shows that he was approaching the defendant. Actually, they were approaching each other. I didn't talk about who swung first. What I talked about was that Mr. Kilgore was acting in an aggressive manner.
That's correct. But what I'm saying is that the defendant told the police Mr. Kilgore swung first, but that's not what's shown on the video. I'm nothing further as to the directed verdict. I'm happy to answer any other questions the court has.
All right. The court, in looking at the exhibit and addressing this as a directed verdict, taking into the light most favorable to the non-moving party, that being the people of the state of Michigan, the court would at this time deny the defendant's motion for a directed verdict. One can maybe make something of that, but I don't think that, given what I see at that point, that it would be proper for this court to rule on a directed verdict and dismiss this matter as a matter of fact. And so I would find that there would be sufficient evidence, potentially, that a reasonable fact finder could conclude, doesn't mean that they would, that the defendant would be guilty of this charge. So I'll deny the motion for a directed verdict.
This time we call the defendant.
All right.
I swear
Sir,
he's wearing the same
sworn.
hoodie. He's wearing the same hoodie that he was in the fight with at Sam's Club. Takes the stand.
You solemnly swear to affirm the testimony about guilty be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. So, have a seat. State and spell your first and last name for the record, please.
Mahar Kashan, MAHARKASHAN.
All right, you may inquire.
Sir, we saw a video, correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear any voices on that video? Okay, you were there.
Yes, sir.
Okay, would you tell us what Mr. Kilgore was saying to you as he approached you in that video?
He said,
Object to hearsay.
It's not being admitted for the truth of the matter, Your Honor.
State of mind.
State of mind.
I will overrule the objection.
so we had a conflict, so you know what
No, just answer my question. What was he saying to you?
I was a bitch and I was gonna do nothing about it.
Okay. Did he make any reference to you as far as your background was concerned?
Yes, during the fight, you called me a dirty Arab, like 2 or 3 times.
I take it the two of you knew each other before this date?
Yes, sir.
Would you say there was bad blood between the two of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, him toward you as well as you toward him.
Yes, sir. He's doing my kids.
He what?
He met my kids on the door. He wrote on the door. I had to.
On the door to what?
On one of my properties.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Just so the court understands, he was a tenant of yours. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Mr. Kisham?
What, before you go on,
I'm sorry.
what happened with that tenancy?
Forfeiture, it was a land contract, forfeit because he was famous.
How long ago did that occur?
A couple years ago, a couple years ago.
Was there a court proceeding regarding that forfeiture?
Go
ahead.
That court proceeding is still ongoing, correct?
No.
When did it end?
Ended like a year or two ago. That was a lot ago.
So you said that, as to your state of mind, the defendant called you a bitch?
Well, because I said.
No, my question is very simple. You testified a few minutes ago. He called you a bitch. That was at Sam's Club?
That was in the beginning of the fight, yes.
Okay.
That was like right before it started. I told him, I was like, you were about to say, is that true? As soon as he turned around, he's like, I was like, oh, didn't you write that stuff on the door, Mama?
Okay. Slow down, sir. My question is very simple. My question is, he called you a bitch at Sam's Club, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And that made you upset, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then he said you wasn't going to do nothing, right?
Yeah. He was intimidating me.
Just my question is very simple, sir. It's just, is that what you said he said? Okay. So that's a yes?
Yes.
And that made you mad?
Just answered the question. Thank you. Go ahead.
Sorry, Your Honor. Didn't mean to interrupt you. And that upset you, correct? It made you angry?
Hurt your feelings?
Angry enough to engage in this physical altercation?
Yes.
That wasn't my question. Would it make you angry enough to engage in this physical altercation?
Sustained.
So you were there with your daughter and another woman, correct? And during the fight is when he called you that racial slur? Nothing further.
Nothing further. I'm sorry. Mr. Kisham, the verbal back and forth that Ms. Blondie asked you about, was that right at the beginning of the fight?
It was at the beginning of the fight. It was in the middle of the fight.
But it started at the beginning.
Yes, absolutely.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Leading up to the forfeiture action on the land contract, were there altercations between the two of you before that?
Yes, sir.
Were there altercations during the forfeiture action?
No.
We have the
we
have the slow-mo ready.
He asked me if he could have extra day, and I told him absolutely.
Mr. Kisham, you have to keep your voice up so Ms. Blondie and I can hear.
He needed an extra day to clean up. I didn't want to put stuff out on the street, so he get an extra day. So he got to go out. I was trying to use.
Did that work out where he got his stuff out?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Judge is like, did I handle that eviction case for you? Okay, you ready for the slow-mo?
The door you talked about where things were written, where was that door located?
I was located right on the other side of his unit.
On Spinnaker Way?
Yes, sir.
So it was on the other side of his unit?
Yes, sir.
Who was in that unit on the other side?
It was empty at the time, but it was his family member who just left.
If you know, and I don't really necessarily want you to speculate, why were there things written about your daughter?
They were intimidating. He was intimidating me. They were slashing our tires. They came in.
Hold on. I don't know who they are.
Well, it was him, and you could hear his partner on the phone. I Sam's Club on the speaker.
Not asking that. You said at a point there was something that was put on the door at this off of Spinnaker Way, right?
Yes, sir.
What was his relationship to your daughter?
He didn't have any relationship to my daughter. He just knows that that's my heart, so each other.
So what do you believe would have provoked him to do that about you? You're the forfeiture. So when did that occur?
I don't know the exact date, but it was.
But it was in the earlier part of 2023. Would that be fair to say?
It may have been 2023, but it could have been 2022 also. at the end of 2022.
There are two people that are with you on that date at Sam's Club. I think it was two women. Who were they?
That's my daughter and my friend.
Okay, we're ready for slow-mo full screen if you want. We've zoomed in. We've got it slowed down. We can pick this one apart.
The one that was, I guess I'll just put it, engaging in what was going on. Was that your daughter?
Yes, sir.
Judge is asking the questions here, doing his own cross-examination.
Down here. Oh, it is.
Okay, we're going to pause for just a second. We're going to pause for just a second, and we're going to go back and watch before we find out how this one is goes down. We're going to watch the replay, and we're going to slow it down here. This is the moment that I think he said is that trip starts. So we're going to start it here. We're going to slow it down. Slow down, slow down. Boom. Okay, so hang on. Stop. Back it up. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, look at the legs, the foot placement. I think this is key. Look at the foot placement on the witness versus the defendant. The witness is taking steps, walking straight forward, hands down at the sides. Okay, there's no protruding hands anywhere. Hands are down at the sides, not pulled back, not rearing back to punch. Defendant, on the other hand, got the wide stance, elbow. I think he's got a left. He's leading with a left. His elbow's back. He's literally cocked and locked, and just lets go. Boom, and that first hit just sent this guy sprawling. Just almost ended it right there. Boom. There's no point where the defendant gets hit at all. I mean, the arms on the witness are flailing a little bit, but there's no contact, and it looks like he's more trying to catch himself than anything else or steady himself. Daughter comes in from behind once they wrap up in a little embrace there. A little bit of tussle. She's going at his neck, probably ripped the necklace off about right there when she went for that. Right there. Boom. Then they go out the emergency door. See the light come on? Just like bing. That's daylight coming in. Daylight. He pushes right back in. Charges. Sort of rams him into the pallet of, I don't know what that is right there. What aisle is this? Could be paper. They're both going at it. The daughter is swinging from one side. They've pulled sort of the hoodie over his arms so he can't really fight. So he's just being wailed on from behind. Well, he is also getting hit on by the defendant from, as he's being dragged around back and forth as well. At this point, the referee shows up. I'm not sure why he was late, but now, right here, after they get right here, now the tide turns a little bit in the fight. Now the witness has freed one of his hands from his jacket, and now he's loaded up his right arm, and he's like wham, and he just delivers the one blow across the face, and then pulls him back, hits his own cart here, throws another right, but he's backstepping. There's not a lot of force in that one. Gets a little elbow to the face. You can see that the face turns on the defendant a little bit. The daughter overshoots, like she was charging, and she overshoots. It wasn't expecting to be juked. Now has to be correct and come back. Now the witness is back against. He has nowhere to retreat to at this point. He's got his back against a pallet. Instead, he leans forward, managed to throw the defendant off balance, and gets up on top of him a little bit. Actually, just sort of comes down on top of him, not really in a graceful manner. The daughter still looks like she's either got hold of or is trying to get hold of him. Now she comes in with the kick right here. Watch the feet. Watch the feet. Wham! I don't know. Wham! Is that? I don't know whose foot that is, but somebody. I think that's a result to being kicked. So I think that's the kick where he says he was kicked on the ground. Struggles a little bit off scene for just a moment. We're going to let them fight for a minute there. And now they come around. It looks like they came through the display rack. I'm not sure. Now, daughter pulls off. Defendant pulls off. The victim gets up. He's disheveled. He's not like standing straight. His arms, one arm's down to the side. Sort of straightens his clothes. He's sort of still saying, let me go at him. I mean, here's a wide stance, so it looks like he at least doesn't think the fight's over. But it gets almost a sucker punch while being held back by the ref. Misses. It misses. Does not connect. Right there. Almost gets the ref. This punch right here by the defendant. Throwing that wild right. It's like a haymaker. It just probably hits the Walmart employee's arm. There might be some charges there as well. Now they're all sort of pretending to hold each other back, and nobody really starting anything. Defendant goes to pick up his belongings, so that might be either his phone or his chain or his keys. He's looking for things as his belongings sort of got scattered when he got jumped. Anytime they're close together, it comes to blows again, and this is more of a mutual combat. Because both of them throw a left, or one throws a left, one throws a right at the same time. So the hands just come together. Wham! They both miss. They both sort of go off to the side. But look at this haymaker that's about to be wound up. Boom! Look at that. Bam! That hit him hard. And that's a cheap shot. Because look, he's headed to his cart. I mean, he turns. Boom. He's not even looking. Gets caught on the side of the head. That was a cheap shot. Manages to keep his feet. And then he throws, I don't know, something, his phone, whatever, in his cart. He's like, I'll get that later. You want to go still? We're going to go. I'm not sure what that is. Is that a shoe? I think somebody lost a shoe there, and it gets kicked off to the side. I think that belongs to the defendant. So he's now one shoe on, one shoe off. The Walmart employee here, acting as a ref, sees the defendant load up his arm and dodges. And he's like, whoa, I'm getting out of this one, because he thinks it's about to land. But it was a fake. It was a fake. And they're like, oh, it's cool. Let go. It's cool. We can talk this one out. Nope. Still got that right foot forward. Boxer stance. Head bob and weave, as you see here. Boom, 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 boom. Defendant's more sort of flat-footed. Nearly got caught because he was flat-footed, because that quick right with the jab to the chin might have even made some contact. Yeah, but might have just touched him just a little bit. We're now almost down to the fruit and vegetable section. Daughter here is tired of being held back. Takes off her coat. Takes it off, and look at this. She's going to whip the other girl with it. She pulls it off, rears back, and whips her. Wham! Wham! And you can see her hair just fly, probably from the wind. Just whips her with this coat and throws it over there. The friend is going to go collect that in just a minute, but the daughter's now ready to engage. Okay, so more... I think some jawing's going on here. There's definitely some talk. But the daughter wants in, but also sort of staying sort of behind the defendant. Defendant now turns. So they've done their piece. The ref says, hey, this round is over. And they've done their piece, and he heads down. But the witness now keeps pushing. He's trying to get past the referee. Defendant comes over. He's picking up whatever it was. I think that was a shoe. The witness is still like right over the shoulder of the referee, getting as close as he possibly can. Probably still talking, saying hi, catching up. And the witness goes and he gets his jacket, throws that in the cart. We're gathering up our stuff here because we've sort of made a mess of the aisle. So everyone's gathering up. Defendant says to the daughter, no, stay out of this one. It's not about you. Stay back, stay back, stay back. Everything's good. Everything's good. We're cool. Nope, we're not. Right here, defendant decides, okay, it's not over. I'm going to take off my jacket because now it's getting hot in here and reveal that I'm wearing the very same hoodie that I'm wearing in court today. So yes, he's wearing that. And immediately, as soon as the jacket's free and clear, he sidesteps the referee with one big step. Look at that. Boom. Big foot to the right, another one to the left. Okay. The referee is completely out of position. Can't stop this one at all. Meanwhile, the defendant is being talked to by a manager at Walmart, but the manager has her back to the defendant and not knowing that something's coming. She sees here, immediately she puts up her arm to block, but she also is trying to dodge. Instead, she sort of takes a shove, and then the defendant with those big steps leads and throws a haymaker. Wham! Big left. Must be left-handed. Throws a left-handed, but it gets sort of blocked. Look at this. It just doesn't go anywhere. The defendant put his arm up, caught the block. The arm takes the blow. Defendant tries to throw a right, misses, and instead hooks the witness's left arm. They disengage. Now we've moved a little bit off camera. You can see that there was a lot of motion here as the crowd shifts a little bit to the right. They're headed over by the oranges. Now the bananas, back around the oranges. At this point, the referee says, I've done all I can. You know, this is beyond my skill level. I've told them to stop. They're not stopping. The bell rang. This should be over, and it's not. Defendant walks back over here because apparently he might have thrown somebody into a fruit stand, and now they're both without any supervision. Okay, the ref's not there. The Walmart manager's not there. They're both standing there next to the oranges, talking to each other. Okay, they're talking to each other, and do you see this? You see a fist bump. Boom. Good fight, bro. Good fight. Good move. Yeah. Respect. Catch you later? Yeah. Friend comes over. She's collected the jackets. Somebody might have said something again. Friend tries to step in, says, no, it's over. We've got to go. The cops are coming. Defendant goes, walks around, gives some sort of gesture here. There's a gesture made there, which was not well received, I think. It's repeated. The referee comes back and says, have you guys rested? Are you guys ready? Let's ring the bell. Ready, begin. Nope, still picking up belongings. Throw everything in the cart. They separate. They walk their separate directions. Pick up the broken chain. Check the face. A little bit of blood. Not too bad. The other lady's saying, you can't do this here. This is a Walmart. You can't do this. Meanwhile, security just standing around the victim in this case, which I'll say is the victim because I think he was sort of caught. He picks up something. Looks like a torn shirt, torn hoodie, something. More Walmart employees, Sam's Club employees come to check it out. See what happens. They're just hanging out, and now we're done. That was it. So now we're going to jump back to the case as it proceeds, with the judge deciding what's happening here. You'll see that the witness is, in fact, wearing what appears to be the same hoodie that he wore in the attack.
Had the two of you ever fought before?
Almost got into an altercation at a different eviction.
What do you mean at a different eviction?
I was evicting Ishmael Diallo also. And the Washington County was there.
All right.
You know, you don't have to fight them in an eviction. The court can help you with that.
Was Mr. Kilgore there?
Yes.
Why would Mr. Kilgore have been there?
He was watching the possession of vicious stuff that was going on to the curb.
So you're evicting another unit.
Yes, sir.
And he just came to watch.
Does Mr. Kilgore live in that area? Was this all on Spinnaker Way?
No, this was at Roundtree. His eviction was at Center Cove. The incident I'm talking about was at Roundtree.
Why was Mr. Kilgore there?
I think that was his, I believe that was his friend. If he was just watching his property that was set to the curb.
Got it. Okay.
We're sending himself out to the curb.
Well, and why on that occasion would the two of you have entered into a altercation?
As I was setting Ish's property onto the curb, I got out of the car and he was flipping me off in this car. So
when did that occur?
That was, I think that was earlier this year. I believe that was earlier this year, sir.
So it would have been after the forfeiture of the land contract.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions based upon the court's questions?
I'll let Mr. Goldstein go first.
I have no questions, Your Honor.
Just so that the parties are aware, I did pull the court record. There was indeed a land contract forfeiture out of 14B that was initiated on February 27th of 2023 when it was filed, and a judgment by default was entered March 24th of 2023 with a 90-day redemption period. And then after, right at that 90-day, there was an order of eviction filed in June. Not entirely laid out, but the order of eviction was recalled on July 25th, 2023. As the writ was canceled after posting, which would fit into what Mr. Kasham said regarding a voluntary withdrawal.
I have one follow-up question. I'm sorry, that's okay.
Go ahead.
How old is your daughter, or how old was she on state?
13.
13?
That's all the follow-up I have. Thank you, Your Honor.
So at the time in 2000,
you let her brawl with an adult of 13?
She was what, 12?
She was 13 at the time. So
she was 13.
See that hoodie?
At the time of this incident, she was 13?
Yes, sir.
I think that was the question you asked.
At Sam's Club, this is solved.
She was 13.
Yes, sir.
Okay. At the time of the forfeiture, she would have been 12. Is that right? If I have my dates right. In 2023, she was 12.
Yes, sir.
Would that be fair? Okay. Well, I almost hate to ask, but I'm going to ask anyway. What kinds of things were written about your daughter?
They were going to kill my kids and my brother's kids.
What?
Should be in the wash.
They, who? Who is they?
Trip and his accomplice.
Trip and his colleagues at
The
Instacart?
truck came set up when he barely, I got the side of his face, but when the sheriffs came over there, they said they couldn't do nothing with it because it didn't really show, but I know who he is. You know he did it.
I didn't ask all that.
I'm sorry.
Only answer the questions. You have a bad problem with that.
I'm sorry.
Any other questions based upon the court's questions?
No, Your Honor.
All right. You may step down.
Okay, pause for a second here. Pause. Let's jump back. I just think that this is the exact same hoodie. This is the moment where he takes off his jacket. We've zoomed in a little closer to see how it goes, and we're slowing it down frame by frame. Opens that hoodie to see it's got that big wide stripe, like it's got, it Doesn't look like words. It looks like a complete like picture across the chest there. See that? I think it's the same hoodie.
Any additional witnesses for the defense?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
Any rebuttal witnesses for the people?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Closing arguments.
And the people are asking the court enter a conviction of the assault and battery against the defendant. We've shown here today that the date and time of question, the location, the venue's not an issue, date's not an issue. None of those things are a question. It really comes down to this physical altercation. And the people have presented a video which really documents the happenings and comports with the victim's testimony. None of this happens unless and until the defendant calls out to the victim. That's what starts all of this.
Well, is that how do we know that?
The victim's testimony.
All right.
As well as
the video shows he's
the
walking along
defendant
and turns around.
said, I believe, to the police officer, the police officer testified that the defendant told him he recognized Kilgore and called out to him. So that's consistent from both of them. But then that's where the stories diverge, and the video really provides a lot of instruction here. The defendant tells the police officer that the victim took off his jacket and swung at him, but that's not what happened. We can see in the video, there's clearly the defendant is grabbing the victim by the jacket, pulling the jacket over his head as this physical altercation continues. Your Honor, the defendant testified that he was angry.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Let's say that there was a calling out. What do I do, or what would the people have me do with the fact that Mr. Kilgore stops, turns, and comes back toward the aisle that Mr. Kasham had just gone down going the other way?
Mr. Kilgore had heard his name that he goes by be called out. Somebody goes, is that Tripp? He turns and he looks and he goes back to see who's calling out to him and sees it's the defendant coming at him, Your Honor.
Okay. Before then, and again, before Mr. Kasham swings, why doesn't he keep walking?
I think
he's heading by his own testimony, but also in looking at the video. He is headed down. He has basically one more aisle to go before he's back in the produce area that Mr. Kasham had just come from. Why doesn't he keep walking?
I don't know why he doesn't keep walking, except that somebody calls out the name that he goes by and he turns and looks. And it's a very quick happening before the defendant and him are face to face and the physical altercation begins. Your Honor, that's really the meat, I think, of this. And I think that the video is the best evidence for the court. And I'm happy to play just that small portion again so the court can see it. And then we see this physical altercation happen in the way that the victim did describe it. It continues, it goes out, they go out the exit door, which you can see the sunlight kind of stream in from the outside when you're watching the video. And you see this altercation continue where it initially starts out the exit door, back in the other aisle where we can't quite see because it's the other aisle that goes the other way. It's blocked by the merchandise that's stacked up. And there's nothing to say that calling someone, saying, I have something for you, or calling someone a bitch, or saying you're not going to do anything about it, that's not where the assault and the battery begins. Where the battery begins is the altercation, is the physical fight. And I'm just going to play that last portion, and I'll reserve any further argument for rebuttal.
All right. Go ahead.
Are we going to replay it again for the judge? Judge has seen it all. I think slow motion is is key. I don't believe it was a mutual combat. It looks to me like
Can
the
we back
defendant.
that up again?
Absolutely, Your Honor.
I have a question regarding it.
Sorry, I think I backed up a tiny bit too far. There we go.
Would you agree in looking at that it's, as Mr. Kasham is coming out of that aisle, that it's in fact Mr. Kilgore who is approaching Mr. Kasham?
I would agree that they were approaching each other.
Wow.
Very briefly, Your Honor, because I think the tape, if it wasn't for the video, we'd be having long arguments, but the tape, I think, makes it much simpler. The so-called calling out was him simply saying, hey, is that Tripp? Wasn't threatening, wasn't intimidating, wasn't in any way trying to provoke him. It was just simply saying, isn't that Tripp? And as the court, next point, as the court pointed out, they were coming to, I agree with Ms. Blondie, and I think she would agree that she and I agree much more often than I do with most other prosecutors. They were approaching each other, but you saw Mr. Kilgore swinging almost immediately with what in the old days you and I would have called a roundhouse right. He came from down low and swung with a wild right hand. And I can't tell whether he made contact or not, but he had a number of opportunities to walk away. And a number of times he came back and continued the confrontation. That's number 3. Number 4, you also saw in the video a number of times when my client interposed himself between Mr. Kilgore and the females and tried to hold them back, indicating that he was concerned for their safety. I think for all, now, you know what,
Yes,
Your
that
Honor?
starts in half an hour.
I would be very happy if the court could find both of these parties guilty of something. But because the people chose not to charge Mr. Kilgore, you can't do that. So the next fairest option is to find neither of them guilty.
What I'll go to in rebuttal is this. I would ask the court, I'm going to pull up the exhibit again, the video, for the, 5th time at least, and look at, as the defendant is walking, he appears to be having his phone, the victim is walking, we see the defendant has already gone in the other aisle. Defendant is in the other aisle, victim is walking, appears he has his phone in his hand, his right hand, walking. You can see in front of his lighter jeans, looks like there's something black in his hand. Holding onto the cart with a phone, puts the phone down.
So right there.
Yeah.
Ms. Lundy.
Yes.
Back that up and play as Mr. Kasham comes out of that aisle and focusing on what Mr. Kilgore is doing. It's clear one can see what Mr. Kasham is doing. Right there. Why does he make those steps that he makes toward Mr. Kasham? If you could play that again.
Yes.
And that's probably the most troublesome part for the court. This isn't a circumstance where if we watch this, he comes out and then he's coming at him also. I mean, regardless of them both acting like absolute juveniles and they both need to grow the heck up, would you agree that at that moment, they're really just headed at each other?
I think they're walking towards each other. I don't think.
Play that again, because his steps are something different than just a walk toward Mr. Kasham. As Mr. Kasham's coming toward him.
Okay, this is so wrong. Watch. The guy out in the aisle, he crouches on one leg. He loads up.
Then they both,
he loads up.
at that one moment, and actually you can see probably Mr. Kasham's legs a little bit clearer. They're both bracing to swing. Look, it's just Mr. Kasham beats him. Is that
hockey rules apply?
If I see
loser goes in the penalty
what
box.
would the people's argument be?
The argument of the people is that Mr. Kasham is the one who begins the confrontation, calls out to the defendant, walks completely out of the aisle that he's in, walks down the side, I'm going to call it the side aisle, like the outside aisle for lack of a better term, goes towards the defendant. I'm sorry, the defendant goes towards the victim turns around to go towards the defendant, and the defendant
Hold on,
swings
though,
first.
Ms. Lundy. When they get into that aisle, they're both headed at each other, aren't they?
They're walking towards each other, yes.
Right. And if you look at the posture, and if you want to play it again, you look at the posture of their legs. When Mr. Kasham comes out and as they get close to each other, Mr. Kilgore's hand drops. His posturing of his legs actually are very similar initially to that of Mr. Kasham's legs. They're going to swing on each other. There is not a doubt in my mind that they're going to swing on each other. And why does Mr. Kilgore, I guess I'd ask the people, why does he speed up toward Mr. Kasham? He sees him.
Yes. He has seen him at that point. I know what the court's talking about in the video where he's turned.
Yes. And then he sees Mr. Kasham. Mr. Kasham is walking into that aisle. He heads back. And if you play that again, and particular focus on the legs of both Mr. Kasham and Mr. Kilgore. Are coming out, and then do you see what I'm talking about in terms of Mr. Kilgore's legs? Mr. Kilgore kicks what would be his right leg back to brace to swing because he's coming from the right-hand side. I'm not an expert boxer, but I mean, I know how you got to brace yourself if you're going to swing.
I understand what the court is looking at for the legs.
Right. But hold on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No. I was trying to answer the question, but I understand there's another question.
His leg comes back, his hand drops. And I would ask the people, especially given what has been said about the past between these two, why wouldn't this just be a circumstance where two people are coming at each other? The one that is more efficient in their swing
wins.
Is the one that gets charged. Because what's clear to me is that if Mr. Kasham doesn't swing, but given how he testifies, I don't think he has that discipline in him. But if he doesn't swing, Mr. Kilgore swings on him.
May I answer?
Yeah,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
So what I'd like to show the court is as we go through these sort of second by second, and we see Mr. Kilgore has turned his head,
right,
stops the cart, turns his body. Now we see Mr. Kasham is sort of at the end of the aisle coming out. We see Mr. Kasham is approaching. Mr. Kilgore turns his body more and starts to head that way. And as we come together, we now see Mr. Kasham lowering his left half to the people and swinging that right hand over top. And then we see Mr. Kilgore.
But as you're stopping right there, look at Mr. Kilgore's leg.
Correct. He has now assumed that stance, but he doesn't have it until that hand goes up, is the people's contention. It's a different...
Which hand goes up?
Mr. Kasham's. So Mr. Kilgore is now walking, and now he gets hit, and his legs have sort of gone to that stance. That would be...
He doesn't quite get hit.
That would be what the people's contention would be regarding the legs there. Your Honor,
Jonathan, this is the best comment of the day right there. This is amazing.
the people believe the evidence shows the defendant swung first, and we're asking the court to return a verdict of guilty. That's all I have in rebuttal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge not buying it.
You're off. Let me get. Court's going to take a brief break before I make a decision on this, but I've got to do one thing. Detective Erskine, are you there?
I am, Your Honor.
Okay, great. Oh, there he is. How are you, sir?
Good. How are you, sir?
Oh, I can't hear you. Hang on, that's Ann. She's messing this whole thing up. We good, yeah?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. We're good.
We're good. Can you hear me, Detective?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You could please raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the information contained in the search warrant affidavit is true to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief?
I do.
All right, very good. I'll sign off on this. We'll get this right back over to you.
Judge just signed an urgent search warrant.
Thank you. Stay safe, please, sir.
You as well.
And with regard to the Kashan matter, court will take a brief recess, and then I'll return and give you my verdict.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to fast forward because we missed. We're a little bit behind. Brief break. When does he come back? Oh, right here. Okay, here we go.
Case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Kashan. In this matter, the court has gone through this and reviewed a few cases, particularly regarding that of mutual combat.
Camera's lost.
It can sometimes be I won't say a discretionary call, but there's that issue. And while it's not entirely applicable, the notion of one being in an area and allowed to stay in that area and defend themselves from an attack, all of those things came to mind as it regarded this case. But the video in this court's mind speaks for itself, particularly when closely examined. Mr. Kilgore's arm, his right hand, well, let me back up, because if I take the testimony that Tripp is called out, he begins to walk back. He turns and walks back. There's not a doubt, no question about that. At that point, however, Mr. Kasham is coming out of the aisle. There is a point at which the two are still distanced from each other, and clearly Mr. Kilgore can see who it is. If that were his sole reasoning for his sort of curiosity in turning around. And if it were to stop there, likely we wouldn't have had an altercation, or if Mr. Kasham had continued to advance with Mr. Kilgore doing nothing, it would be a much clearer case of an assault and battery. However, that's not what happens. What happens is that the two of them begin to close on each other. Part of the reason that we're here is because, as oftentimes this court finds itself in, is that the individual who may end up getting charged is indeed the individual whoever landed the first blow. That's what happened in this case. Mr. Kasham lands the first blow. Part of the reason that he lands the first blow, however, is because as they're closing, and while the court was looking at it and while the prosecutor was up, Mr. Kilgore's feet are not in a position for him to swing with his right hand.
No,
his right hand
his
is
left.
clearly down in position to come around.
He led with the left.
But his feet aren't. But if you watch just the next split second, after being hit, he tries to shift his feet to make that swing.
Is Kilgore the witness?
I don't know that I can think of a case where two people are coming at each other, I believe that both are at some point aggressors in coming at each other. And that this court's mind, by definition, makes this a mutual combat situation. Now, having said that,
it's mutual combat.
There then becomes other points in time, Mr. Kasham being the one on trial, where the court could have focused in on his actions, then constituting assault battery because he comes at Mr. Kilgore. Court won't do that. That wasn't the focus of this trial. I'm not going to do that because, and I almost hate saying Mr. Goldstein would be corrected and that both would be charged, because at the point at which Mr. Kasham at some point is coming after Mr. Kilgore, there is a corresponding point, quite frankly, that Mr. Kilgore then attempts to try to go after Mr. Kasham. If I had my druthers, I would find you both guilty, because and that's what I would do, because I think you acted like two high school kids trying to resolve something that, as grown adults, you should find a better way to do it. But I am left in this circumstance with that focal point. This wasn't an assault in this, it was a mutual assault, if one wants to call it, but they're closing on each other. They're trying to both advance and come to blows with each other. It's just that Mr. Kasham was in the better position regarding his swing to take the swing. He hit Mr. Kilgore. And again, that's why I think we're here. So for those reasons, the court does not believe that the people have sustained their burden.
Wow.
Well, the people haven't sustained their burden that the defendant is guilty of assault and battery. The people, I think, have shown that there was one without taking into account the actions of Mr. Kilgore. But the court, I think, won't think it's left with any alternative but to find the defendant not guilty of these offenses. Defendant's found not guilty.
Wow.
We're all trying to not to put you in a position of having to agree with me, okay?
Please. It's hurtful to me as a human being. It's hurtful.
And now the witness just left.
Pardon?
I think staggered leaving might be able to call.
Yeah. Mr. Kasham?
Sir?
You have a seat until Mr. Kilgore is out of the building. You can have a seat back there. Don't sit at my table.
Don't sit at my table.
Just don't leave until such time as we say you can leave. And also, you have that for Detective Erskine.
Yes,
Right. Okay, thank you.
I think
thank you, officer.
I think slow motion and better analysis would have been
What's today? 25th?
All day, Judge. 25th today. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're about to get up to another fun little hearing. This one is in Kentucky, where we have an arraignment for the defendant who shot and killed the judge in his chambers. This is a sheriff, not just a deputy, the sheriff, charged with shooting and killing the judge in his chambers. This is a wild case, one that we are following. It happened on video. We've played that video. It is shocking. It is shocking. I say fun only because there will be fireworks, and fireworks are fun. But there will be fireworks in this case. The defendant is not pleading guilty. He wants to take this to trial, probably because he wants what he has to say to come out. This is very, very likely that he is going to take the stand and testify in this case. Terrible for him personally, because I think he'll be found guilty and in his own words, will be used against him. But this is a case where these fireworks, they are explosive. They are absolutely wild. There's tea to share. There's enough tea to hold another Boston Tea Party, but of course we're in Kentucky here. big courtroom. Already a lot of people present. Got a few minutes before it actually kicks off. Let's see. Should have the defendant. Oh, yeah, let's focus there. Nice. Way to go. Way to go, cameraman. Yes, we have a bailiff. Let's see what else is happening today. Menendez brothers, don't they have a hearing today as well? That would be a taser, taser, taser. Little dead fish handshake there. This is going to be a wild trial, only because the fireworks are going to come not from the actual crime itself, but from the reasons and the events that happened around and before the crime that are going to be spilled, and there are secrets that will be exposed here. I did not order my desk. I bought Starlink instead because we had the internet outage. Starlink is good, but it doesn't compare to my 2 gig fiber, symmetrical fiber. Can't even touch it. I believe they did move away, little change of venue. When the crime happens in the courthouse, I think you have to change the venue. Dates are going to be set today, I think, at least preliminary dates. The next date, this is going to be a long process. So it's gonna take a little bit. Genjo, we did a little bit of testing. I've ordered a cable. It should arrive today, which will be an Ethernet cable directly to tie into my Starlink Mini. Because speed-wise, I'm getting enough speed to do what I need to do. But my house is a Faraday cage. And so Wi-Fi doesn't go through the walls, and when the antenna is set up outside and that's the access point, I don't get a good signal inside. So I've got to hardwire into the antenna, and then it'll fix it. This is the sheriff on trial for the judge's murder. This is Kentucky, state of Kentucky versus Sean Steins. Sheriff, I guess you could say former sheriff, Sean Steins. He is accused of shooting and killing Judge Kevin Mullins inside the judge's chamber. Well, he sat at his desk in his office. It all happened on video. I mean, I would say that those facts of the case are undisputed. But what is going to be the center of this case is the reasoning behind it, and it's going to be wild. Happy Thanksgiving to the RA Bunch. You and Mrs. RA and the little ones. Have a good one. And chat. Wow, 16 months. Skybell, congratulations on 16 months. I'm super excited for Thanksgiving and for Black Friday. If for some reason you plan on doing any Black Friday shopping on Amazon and you'd like to support the channel in doing so, I can send you a link to any item on Amazon. If I send you a link to it and you use the link and then you do your Black Friday shopping, Amazon will thank me for sending you to Amazon, and they'll give me a little thank you referral fee. Won't cost you a penny, but it will give a little bit of support back to the channel. If somebody wants to do that, I can get you a link. Weezer, thank you for the super sticker. Might not make him less guilty, but it might speak to sentencing quite a bit. If this was a crime of passion, some states have different vantage points on those. Let me see. Okay, I just posted in chat. There's a link to, it'll just take you to Black Friday sales page. There's not a specific item. But if you use that link and then from that page start doing your searching and shopping and everything else, Amazon would thank the channel. And that would be huge. That would be awesome. It is an affiliate link. I do make a couple pennies per purchase you make for all items you purchase after you use that link in that same session. Yeah, and I can't link to say, oh, this is what she bought or this is what he bought. Yeah, Amazon doesn't do that. It doesn't give me reports of what you purchase. I think there's ways you can see what items are purchased, but it can't link to individuals. Look at that slick back hairdo. It's looking sharp. That is the letter O. But you can just click on it in chat and it will take you there. And then you can bookmark it. I don't know if it works on Amazon UK. 100 cases of toilet paper. That's my order. That's what I do. I don't know if it works. You can try it remotely and see if that works, but I don't know. Courtroom is filling up. Will be a lot of deputies, a lot of bailiffs present for this one. This is Kentucky versus Sean Steins. This is one thing we're interested about, are the dates that are going to happen here. It looks like someone's about to come in. Looks like we've got possibly the defendant in custody. Went to a different jail. Looks like he walked off the movie set for a mafia movie or something. Interesting. Slicked back. Everyone's synchronizing their watches. I think he who has the most hair is in charge in this shot. I will put the link on the header for this video if you guys want that. Let's see. All right, I have put the link at the top of the description on this video if you need it. Are these all bailiffs? Oh, there's our defendant right there. That's the former sheriff. Wearing all sorts of protective gear. Shackled at the ankles and cuffed at the wrists. His defense attorney sitting next to him. That bulky outfit, a lot of that is bulletproof vest. They've got him bundled up for his safety and theirs. He doesn't look that big and bulky body-wise in the video of the actual incident. I believe that's his family. Not sure if his daughter's going to be here. Daughter was involved in this one. She's going to be a key component.
All right.
Yes, Your Honor.
And counsel that is Jeremy Bartley and Carrie Bartley, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor, and also the Honorable Gene Cox as well, Your Honor. How are you? All right, how are you? Well, thank you.
Working on the audio here.
Now, Commonwealth is represented this morning by Mr. Montgomery.
Jackie Steele, Your Honor.
Jackie Steele. And your co-counsel in this case
Is Miss Ramsey Dowling?
assigned to the Attorney General's office.
That is correct.
And that's Ramsey Dowling, and she is in trial elsewhere.
She is, I believe, in Green County, Your Honor.
Correct.
Yes,
Right, we are here this morning for arraignment purposes. All right, counsel, have you had the opportunity to review the indictment?
We have, Your Honor. We've taken a look at the indictment. We got an electronic copy, I believe, on Friday. Yes.
Do you desire to waive any of the,
We'll waive a formal reading and enter a not guilty plea at this time, Judge.
and you're satisfied that Mr. Steins is aware of his rights?
Yes,
and
Your
the
Honor.
nature and substance of this murder trial?
Absolutely, Your Honor. Yes. Judge, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt the court. We filed a notice to preserve all evidence, and I have no doubt that Mr. Steele we'll do that. We filed that down in district court. I just want to renew that. And I will file a written notice as well, Your Honor. And I would just ask the court to go ahead and enter a discovery order.
No objection to the speculation, Your Honor.
All right. And in terms of the discovery order, I understand that it is your intention to deliver discovery to defense counsel within 7 to 10 days.
That is correct, Your Honor. Ms. Dallum actually has that. We didn't know when the arraignment was going to be, and didn't have an opportunity for me to get it from her in time.
7 to 10 days for discovery delivery.
All right. No entry of a plea of not guilty. You will note, counsel, my original intention in this case was to review bond for purposes of issuing the warrant of arrest.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in this case, I went ahead and set a no bond.
Yes, Your Honor.
Consistent with the district court's plan. After significant consideration, given the implications of Marcy's law, community safety concerns, security concerns, the fact that the defendant is in fact charged with a capital offense, together with provisions of Rule 402, paragraph 1, the defendant shall not be admitted to bond at this time.
Yes.
Okay, so he's held on no bond.
That is a matter of trial judge's case. Anything else covered preliminary nature?
Oh, absolutely, Judge. And I believe that my understanding was that the court simply doesn't want to take up bond at this time, but we can still file an adversarial bond.
You have every right to file for an adversarial bond hearing. We can that without being more appropriate for the trial judge. Sure.
She's not necessarily the trial judge.
No, Your Honor.
No, they're pretty comfortable.
I will ask that everyone be seated and remain seated until the defendant is escorted out of the board.
Sir, may we be excused?
It's my understanding let's go directly to the facility. So the answer is no, because I need to
Yes, Your Honor.
That was quick. That was quick. Some key things that happened there. Some key things that happened there. We have a hang on. The audio is terrible because they've got a white noise machine on. We're gonna turn the audio off here. They've got a white noise machine on. It's not doing as good a job as they think. That noise can 100% be filtered out. But there we go. That's the end of the hearing. The arraignment. A couple things happened. First of all, a not guilty plea entered on his behalf. That's standard. In addition, the big issue was that that he be made aware of the charges he's being charged with here. This arraignment is to do that. They said, we are aware. We waived the reading of that. You don't have to tell us. We know he's being charged with capital murder. So we waived that part. Not guilty plea being entered. They did address bond briefly, and the judge looked at it and said, look, previous court said no bonds. We're going to hold to that and say no bonds, but that doesn't mean it's a done deal. Handshakes all around. Handshakes all around as we greet each other. We're going to be facing each other in court, possibly with a different judge. The judge said this issue of bonds can be revisited, and now we're done here. Okay, we're done. It can be revisited on by the trial judge. The trial judge can look at this and say, I've looked at this, and I'm gonna issue a bond. Also, defense can file what's called an adversarial bond motion, saying here's why we disagree with that and we think it should be reconsidered. So that's going to be considered later on. No dates were given here. I think at this point the court system is going to enter the next the preceding dates and how they're going to move forward. But yeah, people filing out of court now on both sides. The judge's family on one side, the sheriff's family on the other. Small town Kentucky. Yes, this is gonna be wild, and I think we're gonna go there. I may actually go there myself, depending on the dates. Depending on the dates for this one, might be there myself. What judge is going to allow a bond for the killing of a judge? Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. It doesn't look good for bond on that one. So, all right, we have reached lunchtime. I have too much hair for that court. They apparently, yeah, mine's short. I mean, it's maybe an inch long, but it's longer than the average in that court. I'll see what we've done so far. We have not yet gone to the city council meeting, which is wild. And maybe we'll do that this afternoon. Maybe instead we'll go to Brian Koberger's documents, which we teased last week and didn't do either. So we've got a couple things out there. This is a short week. This is Thanksgiving week. What judge wants to sit a jury down and say, hey, come hang out in my courtroom right up until Thanksgiving, then take the day off and then come back? No, this is one of those weeks that courts try to not seat juries on, so it's going to be a little slow in court as far as traditional jury trials go. But there is plenty of stuff to talk about and to watch, as you've seen this morning. It's been spicy. I have to admit, going back to this, I think Judge Simpson might have got this one wrong. And the Walmart Fight Club case, as somebody said, and that was the best comment of the day. I think this just it doesn't look like that was mutual combat to me. I didn't get there. I mean, we can rewind and watch, but the defendant turning around and taking 2 steps after the witness. Okay, so he's right here walking. Somebody's calling his name. He stops and turns around to face as his name gets called. This witness is taking the defendant's taking step after step after step. And then when he sees this guy is full on coming at him, he turns to square up. And by that time, the guy's already pulling back his left, crouching his leg, and launching a haymaker. I do not think that was mutual combat. I don't agree. Yes, I believe he was squaring up to fight. The witness there who was pushing the cart was squaring up to fight, but White Hoodie just laid a haymaker on him and just about knocked him out there. So just because later on I think he did get the better of the White Hoodie dude in the fight, I don't think it was mutual combat. But so Judge Simpson, I disagree with you on that one. We'll see you in slow-mo court, right? He was trying to defend himself. There is history there, and maybe that's what the judge was more weighing this on. But I don't think just because you've had history with somebody before, you can say, oh, it's all fair game. White Hoodie was just faster to land a blow, in my opinion. He was. It was quick. I think partially because it was a cheap shot. But he did. All right, we're going to go to lunch. After lunch, we're going to come back. We're either going to take you down to, let's see. Let me see if I can pull it up on screen. I'll give you just a little tiny bit of a teaser here, if I can. Where's my mouse? Right there. Let's see. Lamarck, Texas is where we might be going. Let me see if I can just play a tiny bit of what may coming up. I need to find the right part here. Let's see. Let's see if this is it.
Well, I'm here, and
that's good news.
I'm here to.
We'll see moving forward.
Would you like to apologize?
Hold on, Kim. You're not in this. It's me and Mr. Lowry. We're moving forward, right? Go ahead.
Thank you for understanding that, people have a First Amendment right and they're entitled to their opinion. And
this guy here,
like you
Mr.
said, if they don't
Lowry,
like it, move on.
and this lady here.
Don't even pay attention to it.
Yeah, we got
Well,
a job.
we got
a job to do here.
We have to
And
focus
we
on
are
this
focused
job.
on this city.
That's
We're
right.
focused on the police department.
And all of those things,
Yes,
right?
all those things. That's
right.
That's our job.
So,
We're
so,
here.
so if that's what we're doing, I'll say this, a couple things, and then we really have to move on. Number one, I want to correct you. Before Joseph Lowry's name was ever in any city hall, before Caesar was here, before Chief Argon was the the interim city manager, councils that I've worked on ethics ordinances. Joseph, we didn't even know who you were. We were working on ethics ordinances, right? Before you even decided to run for office, Mr. Ross, Miss Yancey, Mr. Compion, myself, and I forget who it was, and who was it?
Carlson.
It's too many. It's too many council
Let me
members.
back up
James.
here. Hang on.
Were there any changes to it? Yes. So there have been some changes from the last time you saw it.
I need to find where he talks, and it's so.
Sorry, I'm
He
scrolling.
blows up.
Is this something that the council would be able to act on as a judge of its own members?
So when it speaks to being a judge, it's the election and qualifications of its own members. That's what the charter.
I am
have to find
concerned, however, that we have applied for
They're trying to subpoena each other's
good
records.
number of grants with matches, and at some point those matches will become due, along with.
Says on the rest is there's 3.
I'm only finding the boring parts, but trust me, these two go at it. Miss Yancey and Mr. Lowry
Yes, and
hate each
I'll
other.
get to that, but these appear, the two that I've sent y'all, that have been passed down appear to relate to the same event.
And every
So
time
if
they
y'all
try to
wanna
talk,
deal
they
with
just
those now
get
and-
into it.
Letters. So that, I mean, you put yourself in a predicament. And honestly, in the 10 years that I've been here, the statements that are in these, I've heard. I'm going to call the NAACP, things like that. These are regurgitated things that it's all stuff that's been said in the past. I can say that I've heard these things from them. But nobody said, the vice president, the president, former president, nobody said that these things were, it's all in what Robert said. Everything backed it up. So we're missing 2 complaints. Don't know what happened to them, but they affirmed the original complaint. But I think that council needs to and even the attacks on the officers, I've heard those to this day. I hear them, the same thing from Miss Yancey about our officer that followed the law. There's no charges filed on that officer, and it still gets under my skin.
They're
The
going
same
at it
statements
against
about
each
him
other.
being a murderer and stuff. It irritates me.
All right.
It is part of this.
And
It
all
is part of this.
I understand. All I would say is that there's active litigation involving this issue,
Yeah.
and that's all I'm going to say.
Let's
Understood.
refrain from the Santos issue, Mr. Lowry.
The accusations, everything in here I've heard before. So for 4 people to say that they heard it again, it's not far off. It's believable. And I think
Not
that
true.
Hold on a second.
and I think that we need to follow Mr. Mitch's suggestion with censor. And if we're gonna as council, every time there's an ethics complaint, we're gonna cross-examine people, then every council member that has an ethics complaint needs the same opportunity to demand people, which I think is highly inappropriate, extremely inappropriate to call citizens, employees. If there's a complaint, I think that calling our chief up here was extremely inappropriate. But you wanted the story. You got it from 2 of the 4 people. I don't know what happened to the other 2, but you got it from 2 of the 4 people that was identical. So
I got my
it just there's kind of a
Mr. Lowry.
there's kind of a in my opinion there's kind of a double standard up here of how things are done and who we attack and who we go after. And I think it needs to be held to the same standard.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
I do have a question.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Are you done?
Yes, sir.
We have 3 other council people that's been listening to this for about 30 minutes, and perhaps they might want to add. So we'll start with Mr. Ross, and then we'll move to Mayor Pro Tem.
All I ask for is a copy of the receipts for the mailed letters.
Okay, we'll go there later. It's crazy. It's crazy. I did get my new cable. The cable is the internet cable for Starlink, so I can hardwire straight into the antenna, which makes it work. Once Ms. Lowry gets to go at it, it's wild. Mod chat says Sharon. Let's see. Hang on one second. I'm trying to do 2 things at one time. There we go. All right. Oh, I was looking at mod chat. Sorry. Yes, there's sentencing there. We followed this one, didn't we? It's going to be live in an hour. That's the Susan Lawrence neighbor feud. I believe that was the lady at the glass door or the door, and she shot through the door, right? To get off the lawn, get off my lawn, lady. Okay, the sentencing is in an hour. We think we're going to jump in there. Thank you for that one. We've got a lot of things happening, not huge court cases, but catching up on updates on other ones. So with that said, we're going to go to lunch so we can be back in time for the neighbor feud sentencing. It's in your neck of the woods. Yeah. Wogger, she gets her chance to speak. She gets her chance. It's pretty funny. I'll see if I can find it, because it's 5.5 hours long. It's the longest city council meeting ever, I think. It's terrible. All right, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at someone, make their day just a little bit better, and please stay safe till we go live again in about an hour after lunch, where we have a little bit more resolution to some of the cases we followed before with the neighbor feud. We did a thumbnail for that one. I'll see if I can dig that one up again. And then we'll continue on with the rest. Mic is off. My mic's on. Test 1 2. It's working. It's working great. We'll see you on the other side. Have a good lunch. Happy Thanksgiving week. Enjoy all the sales, and I'll enjoy the food as well. I'm a big fan of the food. We'll talk to you after lunch. Bye bye. Beam everybody over.